You're listening to RTI Audio, powered by Rocky Top Insider. This is Pancakes and Bacon with VFL, Kyler Curbison, and Reed Bacon.
Hello, Vol Nation. Welcome to another episode of Pancakes and Bacon. I'm your host, as always, Kyler Curbison, joined with Reed Bacon. I'm back in Knoxville this week, so we decided to do it together. Not a great game to do it together with, or maybe it's the perfect one.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people have questions about what was going on. Whose fault is it? Everybody's searching for that. So we're going to jump into this Arkansas loss offensively, defensively, and look ahead to Florida, which we will be going to. Before we jump into any of that, if you guys are watching, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave comments. Love the comments. If you're just listening, rate, review, download, re-download, unfollow, follow, unfollow, follow. It helps us. It really does. Might seem weird, but it does. But first, Reed, how we doing, bud?
I'm doing great, honestly, right now.
Right now,
Yeah, because you're here. It's fun. We're gonna have a great week.
A couple days removed.
Yeah, a couple days removed. We did finish some rewatch separately, but we did finish some rewatch and kind of got aggravated again just a little bit ago. But no, I'm doing well. I'm fired up to talk about a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Fired up to have you here. And we just got a good, fun weekend. Fun week ahead. I'm excited to go to the Catholic game on Thursday with you. And it adds a little bit to it that George McIntyre, George McIntyre's playing. So we'll watch them against Catholic. Then we get to play a little golf on Friday, get game on Saturday. If you guys see us at campus, say hello. It's our favorite thing is when people come up, say, hey, we appreciate that more than you ever know. So come up, talk with us. Tell us if you like the show, if you hate the show, give us some recommendations if it needs to be better. But yeah, so I'm going to start with this quote, and I giggled when I wrote the quote because it is really cliche and pretty goofy.
Your mic's here now, so you don't even have to lean forward, yell, nothing. It's right in front of you. Right in front of you. He's not used to it.
No, I'm not. I'm not
used to it.
I'm used to talking here. I do need to get. This is the same mic you bought me.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah, I'm gonna add it soon. I'm gonna add it soon so it keeps me quiet. But
it plugs into USB. It's very easy.
Yeah, mine's been sitting in the box for 2 years. So this is pretty cliche, goofy, and funny. But and realistically, if I was going to use a serious or a more, lack of a better word, a cool one, a dope one, as the kids would say, I would use the Juwan Jennings one. But I've already used the Juwan Jennings one.
You can't, yeah.
And so
recycle this.
So this is something that we've all heard a million times.
Let's see.
It's from our good friend Rocky Balboa, also known as Sylvester Stallone. But it's perfect for this case. If you can't read it, it's not about hard you can get hit. It's about hard you can get hit and keep moving forward.
Yes.
And that is as cliche and as lame as it is perfect for this scenario and perfect for this case. Because I want to jump in quick, I don't want to do a lot of opening.
Yeah.
But I have to stay off Twitter after games.
No, yeah, you do.
And I'm not attacking anyone. Everyone can have their opinions, but it's a late game. Maybe a little bit of it is alcohol induced. I get it. People are frustrating. I'm frustrated. But two things for me is that I try to tell multiple people before this game or before the year started, I said, I'm worried about Arkansas. I'm worried about going to Arkansas.
You said it in our preview.
Yeah.
The week we did our preview or schedule, you said Arkansas was the game you were worried about. And I thought to myself, Arkansas? I literally was like, Arkansas and Mississippi State are supposed to be the two worst teams in the West, right? Like what we were used to. They're being picked to be at the bottom of the league. I don't think we have to worry about that, especially after a bye, but here we are.
Yeah, and I'll get to some of the stuff about on the bye week, because I have some different opinions on there. Obviously, Heupel, if I'm not mistaken, has been really good off the bye.
Yeah.
But I told people, and I let people kind of talk me out of it, because I was on Xbox Live with a bunch of people before the season started, saying, "Hey, how you guys feel?" I said, "I think we go, we're probably 10-3, probably lose 3 regular season games, win the bowl game to make us get that 10th win." And I said, "I think we beat Georgia or Alabama. So lose to 1 and then lose 2 others that we're just not thinking about, whether it would have been the Oklahoma one that we already won, or the Arkansas game." It's not about like I'm trying to say I'm smart or anything. It's just how college football works, man. It's just like things like this happen. You go and you get a big emotional win for Coach Hype, and then you're hearing everything and how great you are for 2 weeks, and then it's I was maybe worried about a sleepy early kickoff there, and we don't play well. But it was the other thing you got to worry about, where it's the night game. It's their Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. Everything's kind of feeding into them and getting rowdy. And one thing I noticed, Kyler, about this is it was very much, I could tell. I didn't have to be in those meetings this week.
Yeah.
But I know for a fact that I've been in locker rooms, and I'm assuming you have too, where those coaches all week are in those players' ear, especially on defense. And I remember mowing my yard and listening to the freestyle rap that the defensive coordinator did for Arkansas. And I was like, this is so hype. I was like, too bad Arkansas is probably not going to be very good. Little did I know, they were going to beat us. And then, but I bring that up to say all week, you could tell that the way those guys played is those coaches were in there all week saying, hey, everybody's saying Tennessee's going to come in here and beat your ass. They've got the best D-line in the country. Yeah. They've got the best offensive country. They've got the 5-star talent. Or the 5-star quarterback. They're going to run. Whatever the little thing that those coaches are saying, they were saying it all week.
Yeah.
Because there was a difference. And I'm not saying Tennessee came out flat or Tennessee. I don't think they came out flat. I thought they were playing hard, playing physical. But there was a little bit of that extra edge, a little bit of that extra piss and vinegar that Arkansas was playing with. They'd come up and make a hit and get fired up, and they would get each other fired up, and they believed. And so the two things, I just feel like that coaching was in their ear, and I think they played that way. And as the better team and as the favorite, you have to take them out of that. You have to hit them out of it. You got to make plays out of it. And that's what we did to Oklahoma, because if you remember, Oklahoma was really fired up on defense and making plays and making tackles. Well, you got to take them out of that, and you also have to stay the course and keep leaning on them, because when they're making those tackles first and second quarter, they're not going to be making those tackles in the third and fourth quarter.
Yeah.
So that was my number one thing. I just felt like I could really see that Arkansas's coaches were like, even how Sam Pittman was making his comments this week, like, oh, well, hell, if they're that good, thanks for the confidence in us and whatever. And so kudos to Arkansas's coaches. They did a great job. Yeah. They had a good game plan, but just they got those guys ready to play besides just game planning, but to not be worried. And instead of being like, like you mentioned, Alabama used to beat people before they snapped. No, these were the people, and you and I have been on the teams. I promise you, you and I have been on the teams where our coaches did a really good job of up-talking players and other teams.
Teams, even if the other team wasn't as good or was good, it was like, hey, they're still coming out there to kick your butt. They're still trying to, still that motivation.
Yes, and it was. I remember even in high school, our coaches were so good about that year, the year that we won state. We're beating everybody, and they come out in the next week. They're back. Hey, they're talking on the message boards that they've got the best receiver this, or they got this best player, or he'd walk up to really good players and like, hey, they're saying that you're overrated. Whatever the thing is, like those mind games they did. But then again, I've been on teams where we were the best.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like that people were talking about where Dylan Sampson says, hey, we were lackadaisical, a little lackluster. I don't think that meant Tennessee didn't work hard in the bye week. That doesn't mean that I don't think Tennessee didn't practice hard. They came out probably their normal steady Eddie self. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that's enough to get you beat because the other team is at such a higher level. Does that make sense?
No, I think it's saying lackluster is like first off, you're comparing it to how the other team came out.
Right.
If the other team came out the same kind of feel as you, where they're trying to feel you out. They're like nervously like, let me, think. No, Arkansas came out and was like, we're going balls to the wall.
Yep.
We're flying around, and then I think very much how the game played out helped in their favor. Where it was the timing, the 9-minute drive, even though they got 3 points, the fact that multiple penalties and then an injury kind of slowed us down. The next time we get the ball, it's the end of the quarter. It stops us again after a couple of plays. Like it was very much like in their favor how it was kind of unfolding as it went along, because we are very much, yes, the up tempo, but a rhythm kind of offense.
Yes.
We want that rhythm going through it.
And when you're the better team and someone is trying to upset you, especially when they're playing at home, you have to do everything you can, no pun intended, like Rocky Balboa, like you have to land a couple knockout blows.
Yeah.
And at one point, Tennessee was up 14-3 and had the momentum and everything. And so it's like you gotta keep that momentum. We had opportunities, whether it was offense or defensively, to really take them out. And the one thing you can't do is obviously let them hang around. You let them hang around, they get that momentum. And it's like, say if Tennessee's defense played great for, it's a 60-minute game, so if they played great for 58 minutes, well, those last 2 minutes.
It matters.
It matters. And so the only other thing I have about that is that I was really impressed with, like I said, Arkansas's game plan, but also how they had the players like mentally and physically and fired up and ready to go. The other thing that I have to say is what I mentioned, like I have to stay off Twitter and I'm going to do it after games, but everything that Kyler and I saw on there, and it's fine if you're fired up and upset, but and it's weird to tell someone like they're wrong. But
yeah, I know.
It's weird. So like, I'm not trying to say you're wrong, but like you're wrong.
You're wrong.
Because
you're overreacting.
That's the best way. You're just overreacting is the best way to put it. By saying all the things, and Kyler listed it when he first got to my house. And I'm not to steal your thunder, but just to keep the point going, is Kyler said that he saw on there it was Josh Heupel's fault, it was Nico's fault, it was Glenn Ellerby's fault, it was the players' fault, it was
Joey Hazel's fault,
it
was John Campbell's fault, it was Lance Hurt's fault, it was
everyone's.
It was everyone's
fault.
Right.
And usually, and you said like, hey, like, well, whose is it then? Who are you going to pick? And I said like, well, it's probably everyone just didn't have a good game, and and that's what happens. Like. It's just not a good game for whatever the case. But to sit here and say that like we need Alex Golish back or like Coach Heupel played or Coach scared, I'm gonna be honest. I got 7 or 8, I think actually 9 pages of notes. He called this game like he calls all the other games.
Exactly.
And and we're gonna get into why it didn't turn out. But like I'm telling you all right now, he coached this game like he coaches all the other games. There was nothing less conservative about it. Now, I'm not saying that Coach Heupel doesn't have some fault, because you and I have talked about this, and I'm excited to get there. And we will get there. But, like, the mismanagement of the clock was not ideal towards the end of the game, where he should have used some timeouts. We'll get there. And there was a couple things offensively that I probably would have liked seeing. Like I would have liked to seen some speed options or maybe some screens or some different stuff. And Heupel would probably be like, yeah, I probably would have liked to have done that too, Reed. But like maybe I never got in a good spot in the game to call it.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of play calls I would have liked to see. But to say that he coached scared and was conservative, like it's. I mean, I've noted it, like, and I've watched every game that he's, because of this podcast, I've watched and rewatched every game he's done. Do you feel the same?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I feel the exact same.
Okay.
There was nothing when I was going back and rewatching and trying to like break down the plays. Okay, what did he do? How did he change? Did he adjust? Was there something that was more conservative? I was like, no, he's running the same offense. He's running this gap scheme on the runs. When he gets a light box, he's checking into that, getting some yardage, and he's hitting guys out on the outside, and he's also taking some deep shots. Like, it was a consistent – that's how our offense is typically run. There wasn't anything going off script. What was off script is errors, is MAs, is false starts. That's what's getting us off script. It's not, hey, we're not pushing the ball downfield. Hey, we're not doing what we're supposed to do. I mean, if anything, he stayed to his system too much, where it was like we're in 1st and 15, and he runs the ball like he would usually do on a 1st and 10. We get 4 to 5 yards. That's usually a 2nd and 5, and the world is your oyster at a 2nd and 5, where a 2nd and 10 is not necessarily that. But I think it's so important not to like get away from your identity as an offense, as who you are, that even in those situations, I'm like, listen, he still wants to run that ball. He wants to keep those safeties honest, because it's really the safeties in this defense that every team is going to start trying to play, okay? Because Arkansas even talked about it. They went to the 3-3-5. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to copy Oklahoma and what some of the stuff that they did.
Let me say this. Everyone wants to talk about this 3-3-5. Bro, everything that I saw is a lot of what teams have been doing anyways.
Yeah.
3 down linemen, 2 linebackers, and then a real 3-3-5 to me is 3 down linemen, 3 backers, and they're in the box. I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing just they're bringing the nickel inside a little bit.
Yeah.
I personally didn't. Everyone's talking about this 3-3-5. I didn't see it.
No, I didn't necessarily see it either. I'm just describing it so everyone knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And the pressure is on the safeties. You've moved the pressure from your linebackers to your safeties. That's literally what you've done doing that. Now the safeties are the 6th man and the 7th man in the box who have to make the tackle on the running back. And when they come up flying, yeah, they make some tackles. Yeah. That's what Oklahoma did. They made some tackles. That's what Arkansas did. They made some tackles. But then as soon as they have to step back because the pass is coming, those are wide open running lanes. Why did Dylan Sampson's – why do you have a 60-yard run? Because those safeties and their angles, it was all on them. They were the only ones who were going to make the tackle, those 2 safeties. And they came inside and Dylan popped it out. Like it puts so much pressure on them, and that's like what you want for your offense.
Yeah, and I think it's a good example to say like this wasn't very much – this game was not very – or it wasn't as this game was not different than the Oklahoma game, besides we won the Oklahoma game and a few more plays.
Mm-hmm.
Really? Like the game was very much the same, except we freaked them out. They turned the ball over and gave us some.
That's the biggest difference, I think, is no turnovers.
Well,
I mean, Arkansas has been turning the ball over like crazy all year, and they did a very good job of holding on to the football.
Right. So we don't get 3 turnovers, but there's 2 other ones. We didn't get our shot to Dante like we did in Oklahoma, and he scores.
Mm-hmm.
And get that kind of explosion. And even if he catches that and doesn't score like we did in Oklahoma with Brew, that is still keeping those safeties honest. I mean, almost said Oklahoma. Arkansas really got to play and dictate to us pretty much the entire game.
Yeah.
So anyways, those are my 2 points before we start, because we're going to get in to break this down, and we have so many notes. It's going to be a long one. But my biggest thing was I was impressed with Arkansas. And even with how impressed I was with Arkansas, Tennessee absolutely still had multiple opportunities to win this game.
Yeah.
This Arkansas team, like, when I watched it, I was like, yeah, pretty impressed. When I go back and watch it, like, they're not that good of a team. They're not bad. They just made the plays and kept the game in front of them. But Tennessee, I think, plays this game 10 times, whether it's there, here, or neutral site. And I mean, Tennessee should beat them at least 7 or 8.
Yeah.
It just based on rewatching it. And when you rewatch it, it's really is a breakdown of each play instead of getting all this momentum of everything. But Arkansas made the plays, and kudos to them. But for those freaking out and saying we have all these issues with coaching and all, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe
how quickly.
Yeah, like I know that fans can be just nuts, but like I was shocked that, and I'm not sitting here telling you that Heupel's incredible and like the best coach in America. I'm not saying that at all. And I'm not saying that, he doesn't deserve some criticism, because if you lose, then you can say, hey, my thing is, don't come after the play calling. If you want to get on him, say you got to recruit better, or you got to get them more disciplined and not jump off sides or whatever. Those things, but his play calling was definitely not the issue. And that was my biggest thing. I'm like, what this guy did 2 years ago and had a great year. And then I'll even take last year as a good year. Like, I'm fine with that. And then this game is 4 or 5 games in. We have a whole season ahead of us. This team could still easily make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And they're saying all that shit. Dude, I was blown away. Like,
you just saw Alabama get beat by Vanderbilt, and you're thinking, our season's over? We should get rid of this guy? Like, I saw people out there being like, we might need someone else. I'm like, do you not remember Dooley? Do you not remember Butch? Do you not remember Pruitt? Like, guys, we won 4 games. 4 games
I was
a couple years ago.
Yeah, and I was going back and forth a little bit. Like I said, I like the interaction, and I'm not mad about the interactions and going back and forth with people, but just like reading stuff that I'm literally like, I just hope they're either trolling or they're just drunk and mad. But someone was saying that like Heupel hasn't had really any good wins, and they were naming all of his bad losses, and I was like, I mean, and I brought up like I loved his. I guess it was his second year where we absolutely drummed Missouri, beat him by 1 million. Drummed South Carolina, beat him by 1 million. He's drummed Kentucky. He's beat Kentucky, and they're like, "Well, we're Tennessee. We should always beat them." And I said, "Man, this ain't the 90s." Like in my head, I'm thinking like, "This ain't the 90s anymore.
No, it's different.
This is a whole different level of college football. Like, I'm not going to take for granted us beating those teams."
Yeah.
And then if people say, "Well, you're supposed to beat them," I'm like, "We weren't supposed to beat Alabama and beating them for the first time in 15 years." You know, I love the win that we just got in Oklahoma. I mean, there's beating Clemson like we did. Like, there's wins that I'm very pumped about. Like, I was even pumped that we went to Pitt and won at Pitt. Like,
yeah, that was a tough game.
I mean, and I think you and I just have a different perspective too, because we will never, and we'll bring it up for as long as we do this podcast, we will never forget what we saw when we went to the very first spring practice with him at coach and saw what he had to deal with and take over. So, and not to say that at the end of the year, and not to say at the end of the year if something crazy happened, they went 6-6, that we wouldn't say, "Hey, that's not good enough." We would say,
yeah, definitely. I mean, our expectations are at a certain level. We talked about 10-2. We talked about maybe getting to 11-1, getting into the playoff. I mean, we discussed like we don't know if we'll be the team that can get to the SEC championship, but we might be the first team from the SEC in, and it's like that's still a possibility.
Yeah,
I mean, it's still there. There's no reason to go, "Oh, woe is me, now we're done. Now it's over."
Let me ask you this. Did you as a player ever hear the really, really good stuff and the really bad stuff? Or as a whole, maybe not just you personally, but like as a whole, did you all hear stuff as a team?
As a whole, you did hear stuff because it was like there were times like I roomed with Justin Worley. Like there was times where it was like he was showing me the tweets he was getting, or it was just like, "Fuck you, Justin. Like, I hope you fucking die." Like, I mean, bad shit like that would happen. But you know, like when you have an SEC game like this, and you've lost, so you're 1-1 in the SEC. You're aware of that. You're looking around at the other teams, and you go, "Alabama's got a loss. Georgia's got a loss. Kentucky's got a loss. Ole Miss has a loss. Missouri has a loss. Texas A&M has a loss," and you go, "Okay, so what? Now we're still in control of our own destiny. Everybody else has a loss too. So here we are. Let all these teams in front of us, all this opportunity in front of us. Now we just got to take advantage of it." And I mean, that was what we were thinking when we were 5-7. We were teams that were 5-7. It was like we'd lose to Florida and be like, "All right, listen. If we can somehow beat Georgia, those games are always close. Even when we were 5-7, those games were close. So if we can beat Georgia, Georgia beats Florida, we're still in the East. We're still vying for SEC." Like it was like you still had those talks. So
I think, and I'm glad you said that. I just wish, and I'm not saying someone else came to me and said, like, I pay thousands of dollars to be a season ticket holder, so that gives me the right to, that's fine if you want to, like, I mean, I'm not going to necessarily go back on.
It gives you the right to what?
Well, they said it gives you the right to, like, go at the coaches or at the players or at the athletic department. Like, you would see a bunch of that stuff was, like, at Danny White, like, you can, like, F off with your talent fee and all that stuff. Listen, I'm not getting into whether I agree or disagree with that. I just don't think that any of that negativity it's just not good. Like, meaning, like, it doesn't help anything. You can be frustrated, but putting that out in the air and these players seeing that, now granted, just like the GOAT Nick Saban says, like, that stuff's rat poison, whether it's bad or good.
Yeah.
You have to just come and just work and do the process. But these guys are still 17, 18, 19 years old.
Yep.
They're still on social media a hell of a lot more than even your group was.
Oh, yeah.
And so I don't mind you criticizing. Like, you and I criticize and say stuff all the time about people, but, like, I just would rather people be like, "Man, that was a bad performance by everyone. Like, guys didn't make plays," but, like, coming out and just being like, "You suck. This person sucks." It's like a week ago you were talking about how great that person was.
Exactly.
That's the other thing that's where it's like, they were, I saw something like we were talking about Jamon, like Ryan Williams, very be scared of Jamon McCoy. And then Jamon McCoy comes out, and I thought he played fine. I mean, he had some catches on him. He was in good coverage, but it's like now people are like, oh, like want to say he's trash or whatever. It's like, well, you just talked about how great he was a week ago. So
yeah, you saw some Mauritius Islands comparisons with Jamon McCoy a week ago,
which is crazy.
And now he sucks. Even though he was in great position, he was playing press man, stayed at the guy's hip, and the balls was, I mean,
Perfect.
Both of those catches were maybe an inch away from the tip of his fingers.
Yeah.
From just like getting affected. So
yeah. All right, go ahead. Let's jump in this.
Yeah, let's do this. All right. Jumping in defense first.
Go ahead.
So first drive, it's a 9-minute drive. They get all the way down to the goal line. I mean, incredible stand by our defense, forcing a field goal. But this was the kind of drive that Arkansas wanted. They wanted it to last a really long time. They wanted it to methodically go down there. But I thought there were a few plays that guys just did a fantastic job. On the little option play, Keenan and Pierce did fantastic. Pierce stayed with the quarterback. Keenan went out to the running back, was able to take away that pitch option tackle. So it was great. Then there's a James Pierce trying to keep contained, just barely gets that guy. I mean, they're the defense is still playing with a lot of pride in who they are.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They're flying around out there. The first 3rd and long, you see that seam route get hit, and it looks like they're in quarters. So they're dropping corners and safeties back, and that does open it up right there. I mean, that is where it's going to be open, kind of over Keenan's head. So you saw that, then get a big first down, 3rd and long. So that's when you want to try and get off the field. Arian, he gets caught on a mesh route, doesn't stay to his side, kind of goes with the first guy, not realizing there's another one coming behind. So you hate that they got some good yardage on that. You threw this play out there, Joshua Josephs. He reads both. He literally pinches a little bit for the running back, and then is still able to get his hand on the quarterback. A fantastic play by him, being able to do both. I thought safeties, stars, and anybody on the outside, when they were running those sweep plays and they're pulling multiple offensive linemen, they did a fantastic job of forcing the ball back in. I never saw it get to the sideline. And that's exactly what you're supposed to be doing. That's exactly what they're coached to do. Force it in, force it to the other 10 guys that are on the field. So I thought they did a very good job of that.
Yeah.
And you saw Turrentine do it. Linebackers were free over the top to make the tackle. The fullback dive. I think that was a very well scripted play by Arkansas.
Agreed.
To kind of catch us asleep a little bit, thinking, hey, it's going to go to this front side. They're going to have a fullback lead. The fullback dive goes backside and kind of takes it away. Will Brooks makes a great tackle, open field tackle, and then they try and run it immediately again, and it stopped immediately. And it's they tried to get us twice on the same play. They tried to run it again, and it's no. This defense is too good for that. You can't just try and run it again. Let's see.
Let me jump in. Are you about to be finished with your first defensive drive there?
Yeah.
So let me jump in and say a few things. And I want to go ahead and say he had maybe 1 or 2 misassignments, and one of them was pretty bad. But
who's he?
But Arian Carter is a menace, bro.
Yeah.
That guy is. You said it last week or 2 weeks ago. It just seems like every game he's taking a step, but he plays so fast, which is great because he is fast. But when he sees it and he triggers and he goes, he 7 flashed a lot. And the other thing is, it was nice to have James Pierce back.
It was. That was his game. That was James Pierce's game. That's the one that we've been talking about. And he came and showed up.
And it wasn't just on pass plays.
No.
He was great against the run,
Yep.
and I put it out there. I thought about this like a week or two ago, and I loved it. I don't know if you saw the tweet, but I said Baba Yaga because I like the John Wick movies, and so they call him the Boogeyman.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's James Pierce, bro. He's the Boogeyman, and I love that it's Baba Yaga. But his partner in crime, Joshua Josephs,
Made some plays.
dude had an unbelievable game. Our two edges were, in my opinion, 10 out of 10s, A+. I don't like, they both played outstanding. Maybe one play that I wish I could get back for James Pierce, and it was on the long run on the very last possession. But I just had to shout out that those three dudes were flashing like crazy.
That one,
So I thought it was literally a good first play by Arkansas to try to get a nice easy throw, get us using our aggression against us. I loved the pre-snap D here, and I'm bringing that up because there was a couple times I didn't like the pre-snap defense alignment that we had, and I think it got us beat on a couple. We'll get there. 3rd and 2. I have it here. Great recognition by Joshua Joseph. Great job by Aaron Carter, JP, Omar. They triggered super quick on that 3rd and 2. So on 3rd down, or that was one. That was one play. On another one on the 3rd down, they trusted to get there with 4, and we didn't get any real pressure. KP didn't get a reroute or get enough depth.
Yeah, that was that quarters coverage.
So that he was kind of the no man's land that we talked about.
Yeah.
And it's like KP usually is pretty good against the passing when he's in his zone and like keeping his eyes around. But yeah, he didn't get enough depth when there wasn't anything in front. He didn't get a hand on to reroute and to delay some time. Then we've already talked about the crossing routes where it was a misassignment. Kirk Herbstreit broke that down, which was nice.
He does a good job with that, honestly.
He does. He
calls it out correctly.
Yes. There was only one time that I don't think he called one thing correct, and we'll get to it because it was on defense. I thought they did nice blocking on the misdirection, and it led to – this was a pre-snap thing where Tennessee was lined up a certain way, but it led to their 5 offensive linemen blocking our 4, but our 4 was 3 down linemen and a linebacker. So that's their advantage the whole time. And that's because what happens is, and I'll explain it, but if you're watching, so it's center, guard, tackle, like tight end for them, and maybe we only have 2 guys there. And I don't know why Tim Spanks does it. There was one time he did it, and they ended up bringing the end around on a stunt. So that kind of makes sense. But then Arkansas ran right at it. And I just don't I don't care who the linebacker is. I don't want a linebacker. I hate when it's a linebacker having to come up and take on a guard or tackle.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like that's the advantage for you big boys.
Definitely.
And even if it is good linebackers.
Definitely.
We've already talked about JJ on the read option. Great job by Turntine and KP to turn him back in. You've already talked about that. Aaron Carter was moving. 4th and 1. It was great blocking. Here it is. So this was the fullback dive that you're talking about. Kirk says that the motion had KP's eyes, Keenan Peely's eyes. I disagree.
Yeah.
Because if you watch KP, he looks at the motion, but then he's still back in enough. I totally think that he was just watching the back, and it's a counter type play. Now, I don't know how they're taught. I remember when I played linebacker, it was one of the best things that I was taught because it literally worked like every time. But if you're playing an I formation team, I was taught as a backer, you watch the fullback and it will take you to the play every time except a counter. And they said on that's where you just have to be an athlete and readjust. And I remember the coach told me that. It was my first game ever starting at middle linebacker, and it worked perfectly. And so I felt like KP's eyes didn't get grabbed by the motion. I think he was watching the back because he steps when the back steps, and then they bring the fullback right underneath it. And if you've been watching the fullback, it stinks because he would have been right, because there is a hole. If you go back and stop it, there's a hole there, a gap that he would have been able to easily get there, make the tackle for loss or right at it. But his eyes were in the wrong place. But it happens. I think he's been really, really good for us. But that was the one thing that I don't know what they teach them who to watch. I don't know if he's teaching them to watch fullback, watch guards, if they are supposed to watch the back, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's it.
Yeah, that ends with like a false start they have down the goal line, and then Jalen Green had a guy open and misses him on the rollout.
So, and it was good pressure by Tyree West, but that was just not a good play. He
just missed him.
He should have hit him. It was just a bad throw. And then earlier he has one like that where we get him a stop on fourth down. He doesn't throw it early enough. So I don't know what he was looking at. And that could be because we do have such a good D line and getting the pressure that a little bit sped up. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. So ended a field goal. Next defensive drive. I got Turrentine. He's coming up just a little too much, just a tiny bit too much. He's got that zone. That's where he's supposed to be, isn't it? He's not the safety on this play. He is underneath. He just came up a little too much, and they were able to get behind him.
So what happens on play action?
Exactly. Jenkins coming up again as a freshman, dude. Just getting into
Is Jason Jenkins a freshman?
I think he's a redshirt freshman.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to say, I thought he was a sophomore. At all.
Yeah, let me see what he is.
But just making another – he did it, last game. He gets into the backfield. He's so big. He almost is able to take both.
Good-looking athlete.
Good-looking athlete and, tackle for loss on Jalen Green. Jacoby Thomas, they had a crossing route, and this is 3rd and long, and Jacoby Thomas comes up, and he's going to make that tackle, and he misses. And the guy's able to just squeeze out of there and get a few more yards and a first down, and it's like –
redshirt sophomore.
Okay.
Gotcha. So he's a soph.
But if he can come in and make that tackle, that makes a huge difference. Gets us off the field. But you're not blaming it on him. It's just like, man, when Tim Banks draws it up, that's what he draws up. I know Jacoby Thomas is going to be here to make the tackle. All he's got to do is do it. Let's see. Pierce redirects inside. I thought he did a good job. He's keeping contained. Yeah. He pushes the ball back inside. This is one of those balls over Jamad where, he's in great position. He is on the friggin' hip. When they even slow-moed it, his hand was right there about to tip that ball away.
Is this the one he dropped? Yeah.
This is the one he dropped. And it's like, Jamad, great. Like, that guy drops the ball, right? And everyone thinks good coverage by Jamad. He's all over him. He made that guy drop the ball. Later on, Jamad's in the same kind of coverage, and Armstrong catches it
2 more times.
So it's like Jamad didn't do anything differently that time. He is in position to make a play.
Yeah,
and it's good throws and good catches.
Yeah, and I've always thought, and I've always said, like, he's in good position, good coverage. And my thing is, like, just give me 50%. So that guy drops one, then they complete another one. And then if we want to be a winning team and you want to be really elite, then on the last one, knock it away so that you win the battle, basically. Because technically it would have been 3 completions on him if the guy didn't drop it.
Yeah.
Okay, so for me, defensively, you've already talked about Turrentine. The 2nd and 14, that was a misassignment maybe by Jamad by pulling off when they ran. I guess it was a misassignment.
Yeah.
But I want to give a shout out to that one was really frustrating because they completed that on that mesh route and
Jacoby was there.
Yeah, but Jamad McCoy was in really good coverage until he pulled off. So if he just stays with him, but I guess it was zone.
Yeah,
I was going to say because
that was the thing.
That he was dang it. That's where you wish he was in man because if he's in man, he was in his hip pocket. But anyways, I want to give a shout out to Jalen Smith. Okay. Every time I noticed him, he played well. This one I enjoyed. This play right here, he didn't make the play, but it was something I noticed that when that back went out of the backfield, he was on it immediately. Like he knew who he had. He was watching it. So kudos to him. And it was the theme of the night. Unfortunately, there's a theme of the night for Ricky Gibson, and I bring Ricky up because there was 3 bad plays where he misses the tackle. Andre Turrentine, I think, I had one, but this one is one where Jacoby Thomas, like, you have to make that tackle. You already explained it. Like the coach has you in position, the ball's thrown right in front of you.
That's how he draws it up.
Yep. I have great blocking and setup for Arkansas. Thank goodness JP is really good. James Pierce.
Exactly.
Let's see. Oh, yeah, the 3rd and 5. I love how they show the blitz. They've got it's basically like a 3-4. So you got 3 down linemen, you got your 2 backers walked up, you have Boo on one side.
Yep.
That shows it, and then you have James Pierce standing up. So it literally looks like an old-fashioned 3-4. Boo drops out, KP drops out, Pierce comes, Arian Carter comes, and I think that might have been let's see. I guess I forget what is.
I think Easton had a retrace.
Okay, that's
and
right.
Was able
and
to
then
make the tackle.
Yeah, and then they go to the 4th and 1. Amari had a great get off, and that might have been the 4th and 1 where he.
That was the one.
Throw.
The knee, yeah. Like he had him. He had the first down originally.
Yes.
The guy was open enough for the first down to get it. And then he kind of waited, then threw the guy his knee down before
and it was really good pressure. I mean, that's just this team, man. Like these poor guys were on the field all night, but I felt like on 4th downs in the red zone, holding the field goals and everything, and we'll get to it, letting them score. Like I get why Hype let them score, but damn it, that's a tough pill to swallow as a fan and as a defender. I get it.
You break it down, they can take knees. They don't have to run actual plays, and you would have 20 seconds left. I know. No timeouts to get a field goal.
I know. I just hate it because his defense is so good, and they can bow up and make it. But anyways, kudos to James Pierce and Jacoby Thomas because they had good pressure on that one, and fortunate that he caught it with his knee down.
Yeah, exactly. Next drive, this is where they're backed up. Yes. Arian almost gets that safety on the second play after a penalty. He was so close to getting that. But
he played that so well.
Those are the kind of plays you were talking about with Arian. It's like you see the growth out of him and what he can do and how fast he gets to the ball and how aggressive he is, and it's great. And then 2 plays later
is when he had
it's a 3rd and 15, and he's hanging out in the middle too much, and the running back's open in the flat, and it's literally a dump off, and they get a first down on the half. They're on the half-yard line, and it's just like, golly, dude, like that. Just the demoralizing sense you get offensively and defensively, just as a team, being like, frick, like we just had them.
So first off, it was incredible to see him shoot his gun and play that fast and make that tackle. Besides getting there, making the tackle.
Mm-hmm.
So that was basically elite linebacker play. Great push by Dominic Bailey, Dominic Bailey, Elijah, Dalvin. They all had good push. But what happened on that 3rd and 15 is literally inexcusable. That can never happen. You
have to know where that running back is.
You can never have them backed up in their own end zone, 3rd and 15, 3rd and 18, 4th and 12, or whatever, and they get the first down by a swing route out to the running back. That had to be the 4th option on the play.
No, it definitely was.
I mean, even in high school, if I was like a coach in high school and that happened, I would just be so frustrated and lose my mind. But like it cannot happen.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where, if Arian's here and he's improved, like we hope that improvement keeps going up in this way.
Yeah.
And stuff like that doesn't happen.
Yeah, exactly. As we keep going, I was shouting out Will Brooks. Good job forcing back inside on the sweep. He did a good job with that. Green, his throws on the run were really good. He had one to that crosser.
Slide.
Yeah, the slide. They were on a slant versus zone. Perry is there, but still he gets yardage.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like can't quite get there. They run a read option, get out into the open field. Charles makes a really good tackle in the open field. Him being back at safety, I don't think we really noticed him as much until this game. For me, for sure. I didn't really notice Christian Charles out there in the previous 4 games this year.
No, I agree.
Dang, Bailey unblocked, free rush off the edge, and just kind of, gets spun on, falls to the ground. Green's rolling, throws it. Wide receiver drops a touchdown.
Yeah.
It should have been a touchdown. But with Bailey, I'm kind of sitting there going all right, you got that free rush, you got off the line, you realize nobody's blocking you, and there's the quarterback. What are you thinking? What's your next thing? Because my thinking is upfield shoulder, right?
Yes.
That's what you should be thinking.
Yes.
Upfield shoulder, upfield shoulder, upfield shoulder, upfield. That's my attack point, and I don't think that was going through his head. It was like, let me go kill this guy. And it's kind of like you get that adrenaline kick, and then you're like, oh crap, he's more athletic than I am.
It's one thing I was talking about for the Alabama game with Jalen Milroe. Like it just,
it
just worries me so much.
It's going to be so important.
I have a couple things to continue on this. So on that, after they got that 1st and 10, Dalvin Hobbs and Elijah Eat again. Elijah played great this game. Dalvin Hobbs played well when he was in. Nice cleanup by Joshua Josephs and I have Jeremiah T-Lander. T-Lander played pretty well too.
Mm-hmm.
Great by James Pierce holding the ground. The 3rd down, we penalized ourselves. I know he caught it anyways, but JP was in the neutral zone. 1st and 10, the great move by JP, Tyree, and Bryson. I appreciate Caleb Perry trying to reroute. This is tough for me because I don't want to knock the kid for rerouting, but then him going out to get a reroute is what caused the underneath completion.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know how they teach him there, so I don't. That was just like, I think I just have to tip Arkansas. Like, good play, good route combination.
Yeah, I thought so.
I do need to go ahead and pull out the board because this is the drive and plays here where I'm talking about this pre-snap stuff, and I just want to explain. And then I don't know what your opinion. I know you didn't play D-line in college, but I guess I'd love to hear your opinion on offensive line. Like, if you see this, if you're like, wow, we're going to eat. Obviously Tim Banks is way more knowledgeable than I am, but I still look at it and I don't really understand why he does it. Let's do, so there's center, guard, tackle. So they didn't have a tight end here, and we're a little bit shade here. Then we're out here. Then we're out here, there, and then here's our linebacker. So it feels like there's just a big open area here because – and the other thing is too – so if you can see it right here, this is the offense is Arkansas. So you got center, guard, tackle. We got a guy standing up here, so it's probably Joshua Joseph. So he's standing up. We got another D tackle here who he's kind of over top the center.
Mm-hmm.
We got this tackle, which would be outside shade. And then we got the end, which is way out. And then we only have a linebacker here. Well, they run it right there. And so I'm like, well, that just kind of gives it up pre-snap. What my questioning here is like, what's the reason for the shade to the right if that's not really the strong side? Because it wasn't like they had a tight end on each side or in the back.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of like, well, what's Tim doing there? And then I watched a couple more plays later. So, and this is actually, I have it here. I did watch the play, and they did twist. So they did bring in here. I guess what they're wanting to do is there, here, and kind of cover it up that way. But I still hate – that's just a tough play for a linebacker to come up here and have to eat this up on a run play. But what they did is they ran a read option here. And so it ended up hurting us. And then – they did it again later where I have it here, and it's a major gap. This time I'll just add to it here. They have a tight end, and so we do have a guy walked up. But like 2 plays later, he does it, and this time instead of the tackle being here, he moves the tackle over again. So it's literally like you got, for example, let's say it's a Boo Carter or Joshua Josephs, a linebacker, but then you got Amari Thomas and Bryson Eason here. And it's just like that makes, pre-snap. Now, I'll give credit. On one of those, we got killed on it, and another time they did make a stop. But that was just one thing for me that I just didn't really understand why he's doing that if it's not on like a 3rd and long or – like an absolute passing down. When you see that, if you're a guard and you got to work at a second level, like we've just given it to you. Because all you're going to do is just help your center.
I'm going to help my center until I get to the second level. Also just like depends on how that linebacker plays it. Sometimes if there is a lot of space,
good point.
Big boys are going to get juked. There's a drive later where Jalen Smith literally just ducks underneath a
great play.
guard coming up to block him. Guard didn't have anybody to block but him, and he just ducked underneath him and made him miss.
Right.
So it's like some of those scenarios, hey, sometimes you're in open field as an offensive lineman. You're not even like ready to deal with the speed of the linebacker. So it can happen that way. But it's all just, hey, can I have a guy in every gap? I mean, that's what the defense is trying to just figure out.
Right.
Can I have a guy in every gap?
And my thing is sometimes I just like it to be I get very uncomfortable as a fan watching it if I feel like we've only even when I'm watching the Titans and I feel like the Titans are used to get ran on, or you're playing a team that's just run it down your throat. I'm like, bring in another lineman. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, go ahead and
take out a linebacker,
because
take out a DB, bring in a linebacker.
Right, because a lot of times, and you see it all the time in college, now we have 4 down linemen, but really it's like 2 because you get your 2 down linemen. So for Tennessee, it's Amari Thomas and Jackson Moa, or Amari Thomas and Omar Norman, like whoever. But then the outside guys, they're like, those are technically D linemen, but they're standing up. And sometimes I get a really funny feeling in my belly when I see that we've only got those 2 big boys. And thank goodness our edges are really good. But to go here, so they killed us on the first one where they ran their read option. We come right back to it. This time our damn linemen's even moved over more. I don't understand it. And then it's 3rd and short, almost same alignment, but Elijah shifted a little more, which made me feel a little bit better. He got a good push, and then double Joshua Joseph absolutely kills with how hard he shoots in. And when he shoots in, he takes a triple team.
Yeah.
So on that, so basically it was that same thing. Triple J's like so basically Triple J's out here. And he comes in so hard that it takes these 2 guys and this one, and then the linebackers fill.
Yeah.
So it worked perfectly. We ended up making a stop. It was so like I said, Joshua Joseph fires off, kills it. He takes 3 blockers, and then Aaron Carter triggers really, really well, makes the tackle, and then Jackson Moa is also there. Yeah. So that time it worked great. I mean, but I don't know. Sometimes it still makes me worried. And then 4th and 1,
T-Lander with a great play, holding Jalen Green short. I think
open field tackle against a 6'6" guy.
And Will was helping on that. Will Brooks came up and helped on that, but great. I mean, 2 4th and
Elijah was
2 4th and 1s stopped our defense. So, this is last drive before the half. Amari getting pressure. Puller's getting to the edge. I had that whenever that happens, that's when the play is going to have success. So it's like when we did contain, when we did force them back in, we had success. This is the one, Jalen Smith just ducking underneath a block and making a tackle. Fantastic play.
It was silly.
Fantastic play by him. We're in another 4th down. Keenan is there to make the tackle, and they got a big-ass running back too. And he gets some extra yardage on it. This is a play that, like, he kind of goes down for a minute. But, I mean, they had a hat on a hat with Keenan being open. So it's one-on-one. If I'm Tim Banks, I say I'm going to trust my guy in that situation. Got Elijah with a swim move on the guard,
and the guy fell down.
Just made him fall completely on his face. He's right there for the running back, so quarterback has to pull, and then JP's sitting there waiting for him. Just a fantastic play. 2 guys on one side just unblocked. You can't do much as an offense.
No, it was a great visual too, because if you pause it on TV, and I guess I should have taken a picture of it and tweeted it out, but it's hilarious because the guard is 3 or 4 yards up with his butt in the air, both hands on the ground, trying to catch himself. Elijah's like this, and then you see the quarterback and running back doing the mesh, and then James Pierce is sitting out there. I mean, playing it perfect.
Run a little blitz. The quarterback misses the man wide open. No one's covering him. Doesn't even see him.
And I don't know who the misassignment was on that, because Will Brooks and Jamal McCoy came.
They both came.
So I'm not sure what happened there.
So he throws in the dirt over on a little slant off to the side, and they try and kick a field goal, miss. And that's where the kicker gets hurt. So that's halftime.
Let me on a couple on those. So nice pressure by Caleb Herring. He came in. Another good job by Amari. It was a good coverage, just a really nice catch. That was good coverage by Jalen McMurray, but it was a good catch. Andre Turrentine had a chance in the backfield, and he's got to get his head across. So I tried to tell you a couple weeks ago that some of these guys were diving and not wrapping up and making the tackles like I needed to, where it was kind of feast or famine.
Yeah.
And Andre Turrentine is in the backfield, and he has a good hit. Like, it was a good, solid hit. It's not like he was scared of contact, but he comes here, the runner's here. He doesn't get his head across. He gets his head across, and it's a tackle right at the line of scrimmage. So it's just those are little fundamentals. Then they had awesome triggering up and under by Jalen Smith. You mentioned on that same play, Omar Norman-Lott did well. 3rd and 1, it was nice blocking, but this was something I'm like, maybe pull Dominic out for Omari or Elijah, because I felt like we were pretty lean on a 3rd and 1, but it's kind of hard to not trust any of those 10 dudes. You've already talked about the massive width. And then 3rd and 6, the boogeyman, Baba Yaga, James Pierce with good pressure. I think Jamad was coming well. You talked about the misassignment, but I was happy to see the Boo was in good coverage and that he probably makes a tackle even if they complete the pass. Yeah. So, like, that's something I'm noticing, like, oh, it wasn't a completed pass, but Boo was still there. Even if he does catch it, all right, continue.
Okay, that is halftime, and we have not done offense yet. And I know you got a 3 o'clock call. So how do you want to attack second half defense and our whole game of offense?
I didn't even notice it was almost 3.
Yes, sir, it is.
Is there a way to pause this bad boy?
Yeah, I think I can.
Okay, well, let's just keep going right up till 3, and then we'll pause it.
Let's see.
We'll finish defense and then go to offense.
Yeah, there's a way. Okay, let's finish defense. Coming out of halftime, we end up scoring, so then they get the ball back. I think they ran it on 1st down, then JP's free off the edge. He misses the sack. I mean, that's tough to be an open field versus that kind of a running quarterback.
He made more plays than he did.
Yeah, exactly. And he even misses the throw, so it's like he affected him.
Right.
Let's see. What do I have here? Gets it to the next play. What do you have after that?
So for there, I got Elijah and JP eat. Nice trigger by Aaron Carter again and Jordan. Great way to start the drive. Good pressure by JP, but I just said good move by quarterback. And then I have the 3rd and 8, and that is where James Pierce gets his
That's what. Okay, sorry.
That's his first.
Gets the next play. So James Pierce gets his first sack. The next play.
But Aaron Carter
beating the guy.
Aaron Carter came right up the middle and murdered the 250-pound running back that we had to hear about. Yeah. He didn't necessarily deplete him, but he hit him really hard, extended, got him out of the way, and it was a great sack.
Yeah, swipe and rip by James. Next time they're on the field, we scored again. Let's see.
This
okay. So Boo, they hit a little wide receiver screen off the motion. Wide receiver coming motion in the backfield. Boo looks as if he's almost blitzing. A little, like he's blitzing. He's a late blitzer. So you think, hey, can you tell this guy's coming over here? Now our numbers are less, right? Can you pick that up and realize, hey, maybe I need to go make a play on this guy?
No, my problem here is not with Boo at all. So Boo's there. He's coming on a blitz. He realizes it, and he tries to get a hand up. And they float it over. So I'm fine with how he played it. This is where I absolutely hate what Ricky Gibson did. And I like Ricky. I hate beating him up. But he's almost like, if I'm the coach, I'm giving him, I'm like, hey, man, like these 3 things – or these 3 examples that I would show him of these tackling and lack of tackling and just getting absolutely murked in the field. I'm like, I can't play you if you do this.
Yeah.
Because I can't, because there was a couple, I'm like, this was a big play. Like Ricky just comes up, and Christian Charles had done a good job of taking on the blocks. And Ricky just comes flying up and just runs outside and lets the guy run right by him. And I don't know if he expected that he was going to meet him on the outside and the guy insteps and cuts up. But, like, you got to come up and break down and make a tackle, because that play ends up going for 13, 14, 15, 20-something yards. And it should have been the way that everyone else played it. That should be tackled right there for a 1 or 2 yard play.
Yeah.
Thank goodness Aaron Carter was hustling, makes a tackle. Christian took on the block well.
There's another press man, Jamad, and just great ball over the shoulder. Like, I mean, he put it in the only place that Buddy could catch it.
There was a 2nd and 7 too. That was oh yeah, never mind. That was you talked about that. That was good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's another play by Ricky. Misses on the hitch. He misses his tackle. But open field tackle by Charles coming up afterwards.
It's just you can't. That guy. Listen, he wasn't tackling Ryan Williams. He wasn't tackling somebody who's extremely fast. Right? Like this guy was like kind of a big, tall, lumbering, and he just sidesteps it once. Like if you're not coming up. And I get if you want to be aggressive, if you're going to come up and be that aggressive and dive, like you got to make the tackle, especially on the wide side of the field where everyone else is kind of far away.
Mm-hmm.
You might have to just come up and play basketball defense, break down, and try to make something to give your guys some time. I hated seeing that. That really bummed me out.
Yeah, that stunk. Let's see. Little read option. Will Brooks with open field tackle. This is where I started to feel like I could notice the guys getting tired. I could notice that they were like, we've been out here a lot. You had a cutback by the running back on this one play. I thought Dominic Bailey, he could have done a better job going down the line of scrimmage. He was unblocked as the end man on the backside. And you think, hey, squeeze that line of scrimmage, squeeze that line of scrimmage. You've been taught that. I've been taught that in freaking middle school. As a defensive lineman, squeeze the line of scrimmage. And it's like he gets upfield. He just starts trying to chase. They're able to cut back, causes alleyway, and they get 7-8 yards on it.
Yeah.
And it kind of gets them in a good rhythm and a good spot.
Unfortunately, I felt like we gave them a lot of good alleyways towards the end of the game a lot.
Yeah. And then 2 plays later, Dominic Bailey makes a move on the offensive lineman, is in the backfield to make the tackle and misses. And I'm like, I don't think he misses if he feels fresh. I don't think he misses the tackle, but here we are.
Yeah, if you're fresh or if you're up by a couple of touchdowns and you're playing with house money, it's a little bit different at that point. So I'll go on to the next one. Keep moving here. Defense. I got pretty decent coverage. It was a good tackle. Nice push by Jackson Moa. Nice shed and tackle by JP and T. Lander. Then you got a 3rd and 3, and it's a nice fill and tackle by KP. But this is the fumble, man. Like I watched this a couple times when I was watching the game live. I didn't really think too much about it, but when I go back and rewatch it, like they don't blow the whistle dead until after the guy gets tackled. He leans and reaches. Turn time takes the ball out of his hands.
Oh, yeah.
Turns and starts to run. Then they blow the whistle. So it wasn't like whistle when he kind of goes down, which would have been a early whistle. They literally like let him go down, let turn time take it, run. I don't think he was down. They didn't show us any good replays. They didn't even really talk about it.
No.
They just kind of kept moving it. But when I rewatched it and rewinded it multiple times and paused it and listened for the whistle, they should have absolutely let that go and see what happens. But here again, I'm not blaming we lose the game on that. It's just one of those on a game that you do lose that you go back and look at and be like, dang, that could have been a tutty.
Yeah.
But I mentioned a couple weeks ago, bro, like I thought we got helped by a referee by actually seeing something and actually calling something. So it goes both ways. But, that I do think they should have looked at that. And heads up, play by turn time to grab the ball out of their guys.
Yeah, it is. And, it eventually comes to a punt. So you're like, okay, it's fine. It didn't matter. But we get a roughing the punter. And actually, it really did matter. Man, when you're in a position and you're not going to be able to get to that ball, get the hell out of the way.
Yeah, this one's tough.
I feel like that has to be a coaching point in those meeting rooms.
Yeah.
I feel like he has to have heard that before and not to do something stupid like that.
Yeah, this one's tough because he had the block punt earlier in the year and House calls it. So it's like, yeah, that's cool. And obviously it was against like Kent State or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
If you do that in this game, you're like a hero, but that stuff is just like inexcusable as well. There's some that like you're kind of get blocked into them, or you have a legit chance to miss it, or have a legit chance to block it, and you barely miss it, and then you run into them. It's like, okay, well, I'll take the flag if we almost got the block there.
Yeah.
Because you just can't get out of the way. But this one, and then you and I talked about it, watching the punter celebrate, and then you, as you mentioned, get congratulated. Like, it was the weirdest thing in the world. Like, as a punter, you should celebrate and get fired up if you just put, coffin cornered it, or put it on the, within the 10 or within the 5, and they got it, and you had a nice little juicy spin, like a little.
You didn't do anything.
Like, man, a little wet shot. You didn't do anything, and everyone's like celebrating. I was like, he got up and was like, I was like, what the like. Anyways, that guy's obviously a clown, but yeah, you can't do that. You can't do that.
No, you can't. So defense back on the field. JP with the batted ball coming off clean. Now this is like, hey, here's your second chance where you come off clean, and what does he do with it? He passed that ball. He almost could have picked that. If he would have saw that, talk about a play of the year in a game where our offense is kind of struggling to score an extra touchdown with. It could have been like the Raiders Patriots game a while ago where they try and throw it back and he picks it up and just stiff arms freaking Mac Jones into the dirt. Like, you imagine if James Pierce catches that ball and just freaking into the dirt and just runs it.
Listen, he would have had a really good chance because that 6'6" string being quarterback, I don't know what kind of effort he was going to be given. And if I'm not mistaken, he comes out 2 plays later with a limp. I don't know if that was the one where he got hurt or not, but yeah, it was a great job getting your hands up. But I remember watching it live and I saw it, and I was like, oh, great play. And then I see the ball up. I'm like, oh my gosh, get it. And then it hits the ground. I'm like, no, like those are the plays. Like when you don't get those plays, you're like, this doesn't feel great.
I know. Let's see. They hit the wide receiver down the sideline in between the two coverage points.
I think it's just a good play.
It's just a great play.
And it was a great hit by Will. Will murdered him.
Yeah, Will murdered him. And it was a great play by them. We actually had one of those opportunities on offense late in the game, and Kitzelman drops it. And it's the exact same. You're hitting between two zones, and he didn't make the catch.
I know.
Let's see. Jermon in press coverage again. Great throw, and that's what makes the difference. He's all over him, dude. I can't get mad at the guy. I can't get mad at him. If he's all over the wide receiver, he's in his hip pocket. His offhand is out in front to try and tip that ball away, and it's just the exact spot it can't. And then Omar gets roughing the passer on this play too, so it's an extra 15 yards. Gets him even closer. We get an offsides for substitution, which I'm just like, what are we doing here? Yeah. Are we not paying attention? Because it was after a pause in the game too. You really expect more out of the team and the coaching staff. And let's see. Amari does a fantastic job fighting inside of the block, making a huge pile up. Keenan comes unblocked, makes a tackle. And then bad exchange because that backup quarterback's in now with Green out. They got a bad exchange. He drops the ball. Turntine is right there, almost recovers it before the quarterback can, and end up kicking a field goal there. 13-14. With
the mistakes, penalties, everything that happened, and they do a great job holding to 3. But you think about it, it's like, well, if you don't get the rough in the punter, or if Andre Turntine can get that ball, that saves 3, and the game stays at 14-10. And that is monumental because it changes how everything's played, meaning how they are going to drive to try to score to win.
Yep.
They can't kick a field goal; they have to score.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously, if they do, then it
changes the way we play defense.
Exactly, and then it changes the way we would have played offense on the last drive. But hey, it happens. Like I said, kudos to the defense for making the stop.
Yep. Okay, next time out, they send Christian Harrison on that blitz. Great move on the guard. He makes him look freaking silly. Just jukes him out, gets in there. Then it looks like he gets hurt. Little stinger in the hip. I don't know what that might be.
Fortunately, I hope he's okay. But it's nice that I feel pretty good about
deep.
there at that position. Like if Boo comes in and has to play the whole time, I'm fine. Just like if Boo went out, I'm like, okay, Christian's good too.
Yeah. And that kind of put him behind the sticks and really made it to where, hey, we got this. You know, they were in 3rd and long, and they kind of threw into the flat, tried to get as many yards as they could, and ended up punting.
Yeah, I just got to give a shout-out. Dalvin 8, Amari, good push. You already mentioned Christian Harrison coming in, but then 3rd and 18. I thought that was a good, nice step up and throw by that backup. I mean, it's 3rd and 18, and they made me uncomfortable. You know, I mean, I was like, get them down.
Yeah.
And so that was a good play of him setting up. But this is another one where Ricky just comes in and just blatantly misses a tackle. And thank goodness that, you know, KP is hustling and makes a good tackle. But like, I can't have that from Ricky. It's just
I can't.
Yeah.
That's not gonna win you ball games.
It's not.
Let's see. Next drive, JP on a little D-line twist. This is like some of the ones you were just mentioning earlier. They love doing that on 1st down, and he's just right inside scot-free.
Mm-hmm.
Able to make the tackle in the inside zone. I think this is where Green tried to roll out, and he was slow, couldn't move. And just end up throwing it away.
Yep.
And then
good coverage on the back.
Keenan just being on like a QB spy. He's sitting in the middle of the field, and then he takes off, goes after the quarterback. He throws it. Arians staying on his man. He's all over him. He bats the ball away, and we force another punt.
Which,
I mean, his defenses, I mean, they're killing it.
They're doing great, but special teams wise, Squirrel, he has to catch this.
Yeah.
I mean, that's another one like the
let it go. I mean, I don't know what the coaching point is on this, because when I rewatched it, I was like, it's only 5 or 6 yards in front of him. It's not that far ahead where it's like, hey, this is going to be risky for me to go up.
Bro.
So I don't know.
I mean, it was like it ended up being like a 75 or 80 yard punt for them. And the difference between us getting the ball at the 40 compared to the 20 is monumental. Like if you look at the percentage,
for real.
If you look at percentages in football, whether you start at your own 30, 40, 35, 25 compared to like your 20, the rate of scoring and at least flipping the field is monumental. And
yeah,
he's done that a couple times. And I know he let one go, which it landed at the 8. And usually the rule is you keep your heels at 10. At the 10-yard line, if it goes over your head, don't catch it. It's usually what the rule is. But that one where he was at the 40 and immediately just starts yelling, Peter, and pointing out like it was some shank, bro, you got to go up and catch that ball. And if he's not comfortable doing it, you got to find someone that is.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. So after, this offensive drive, we ended up, punting it, getting it down to like the 9. And then this is their drive that they ended up scoring on. But you start off the drive with Joshua Joseph running onto the field late, and they run a tunnel screen to wide receiver. I just don't understand why there's not 15 people on the sideline yelling out, hey, this is what we're going to play. This is our defense. This is the defense. This is the defense. Who's in the huddle? Who's saying this is a change of possession. This is a break in the action. We should be locked in. We should understand who needs to be out there. Everybody's subs. Like, that's the part when, people go into the coach talk and they say, guys are not coaching well. They need to, lose their jobs and stuff like it's missed stuff like this that really pisses me off. Not the, hey, play call. Hey, this situation on 4th and 3, you should have called this. It's, hey, why is that guy hitting the punter? Hey, why is that guy not on the field when he's supposed to be? Hey, why is that guy not coached up on this kind of stuff?
I agree completely. I think the last thing I have on defense is overall, the defense played really, really well. Overall, they played absolutely well enough to win the game.
Yeah.
This is very much I would have liked to seen a turnover or two. Maybe they did have one and the ref blew that whistle. But this was very much like that Missouri game a couple years ago where – well, no, I shouldn't say that because they did put up points. But anyways, this defense played absolutely well enough to win. And
a couple of things.
The offense did not hold their part in the overall game. But – it is brutal that the defense, as good as they've been, has a chance to end the game and stop it. And they literally, unfortunately, shit their pants. And they choked on the last drive, giving up a couple of the big plays. There was maybe a questionable holding call or two. It doesn't matter. Like, you can't put it in the ref's hands.
I don't like the fact that we had a 5-man box.
I don't disagree.
Against a backup quarterback who has not thrown a ball, cannot complete a pass, is a runner before he is anything, and we have a 5-man box set up, and they just get a hat on a hat. There's nothing crazy about what they did.
I know.
They literally got a hat on a hat. You talked about James Pierce in this long run, right? The number 0, that 250-pound dude takes, that James kind of loses him behind his guy. But if I'm an offense, I'm thinking, if I can get a hat on a hat, I got to play.
I agree. And that's the thing, is you get to this last drive, and even the very first play, you're talking about Joshua Joseph running on late. But what else do you think it's going to be? It's going to be a quick game. They know that they got to let this guy have easy throws.
Yeah.
They're not going to have him drop back and try to hit a deep dig or
There's
whatever.
plenty of time as well. They're not trying to rush down the field. They have plenty of time. They're going to run the ball.
And so what do? They run a quick screen where it's an easy throw to him. They use our aggressiveness against us, and so it's like, that's it. You, as a defensive staff, you should have known that was coming. And then I could not agree more that you can absolutely not have a lot. You have to you have to sell out against the run, and you have to blitz him like crazy to make him beat you. Make him make a throw like the other guy.
Green was.
Yes. And that's what was super frustrating about this, as good as they've played all year. But, if you want to hear Nick Saban talk about not just the D-line, but say that this is one of the best defense in the entire country of college football, the one thing you can't do is get beat by a freshman backup quarterback when the game's on the line. And they did. So it's like, clearly they still have a lot of stuff that they got to do to get better. And it's just unfortunate that their worst defensive possession was
their last one.
Yeah. And it's probably the worst one they had all year. So
yeah, I mean, it just sucks. We'll take a brief pause.
Yeah.
You got your little meeting, and then we'll jump into offense, so you guys won't miss anything. But it'll be a brief pause on here.
Yeah.
All right, we are back in. Finished up that defense. Reed had a little work meeting, and now we're jumping into the offensive side of the ball. I think we can just start off going through plays, and we'll kind of get into the gist of it. We've already kind of mentioned some things in the gist of it.
I will say this.
Okay.
I didn't do a super, super deep dive into every play, especially with the offensive line. I named a lot of the obvious ones, but I knew that you would hit a lot of the O-line. But what I did is I wanted to go holistically a lot and see, hey, is Heupel not doing what he usually does?
Yeah.
So I still have notes on all of it.
Which we kind of talked about in the beginning.
Right. So I still have notes on all of it, but that was my biggest point to this, is like, because I remember guys dropping passes. Like, I remember these different things. So, like, I knew going into it, well, like, hey, if there's a drop on 3rd and 7, that's not Heupel's fault.
Yeah.
But anyways, go ahead with whatever you want.
Yeah. So, we'll just start off with the first. It's like, not many offenses are made to be behind the sticks. Okay. Like, you might want to say this offense isn't made to be behind the sticks. Offenses aren't made to be behind the sticks. You're not trying to be 1st and 15. You're not trying to be 2nd and 16, which is what we were on the first drive. 1st and 15, we gain yards. 2nd and 16, we for penalties. Back to back, we are behind the sticks.
Bro, first play of the game, people talk about him being conservative. First play of the game was a play-action pass.
Play-action pass. What do you think Arkansas is thinking that Tennessee is going to do on the first play of the game? Run the ball. Okay, so they hit a play-action pass for 15 yards downfield. We have a first down right off the bat. Guess what he would have done if there wasn't a freaking penalty? Fast, up-tempo, go. That stalls a drive. Penalties like that stall a drive, a legal man downfield. It sucks. I am very much like Carrick, got to be aware of your surroundings and where you're at. sometimes those things just kind of happen. So you don't like want to just bash.
That's a tough one. It's not like
that is a tough one.
It wasn't jumping off sides. It wasn't holding.
Exactly.
That's where it makes it even a little bit worse.
Exactly. So we're 1st and 15, and he says, "Okay, I'm not changing who the fuck we are because of one play. So we're going to run the ball on 1st down and a 4-yard run, positive run. You get to 2nd and 11, false start, puts us back again another 5 yards. We're now in 2nd and 16. We have not gone anywhere and ran 2 plays. Wide receiver screen out to Squirrel on the edge, gets us 5 yards. Positive yards.
You know what else that is? Something that Josh Heupel does all the time.
All the time. Gets us positive yards.
Are those outside throws?
Yeah. Let's see. So that was 2nd and 16. We're now at 3rd and 10.
3rd and 12, actually.
3rd and 12. We're already in a bad spot, okay, because of where this defense is. They are the freshest that they can be, and now they get to tee off. John Campbell gets beat with a spin move. Inside, Nico tries to roll out and ends up getting sacked. Nobody's in rhythm right now. We're still trying to get to that spot. 3 plays in a row, Josh Heupel calls positive yardage plays. 15-yard reception on a play action pass, a 4-yard run, and another 4-yard bubble wide receiver screen. And you're sitting there like, the offense is there. It's there. It's there to be had. That's exactly what we would have wanted in positive yardage penalties.
And I'll say this on the 3rd and 12. I don't really know what Dante was doing on the right side because it looked like he just ran and then it was like he started blocking. But it probably was just a 2-man route. And all the 2-man route was the inside guy does a hitch to hold, and they're going to bring the dig behind it, but he didn't have time to get rid of it. So.
Exactly. Guy gets beat. So that's the difficulty also is like you jump into your first drive of the game. It's 9 minutes into the game. You have 3 plays. And you got to punt.
Yeah.
They hold the ball for another extended period of time, another 4.5 minutes, and you got 2 plays before the quarter ends. But this is what we're doing on offense, right? First play, hat on a hat, 2-yard run. Okay. Now, play action, a comeback to Squirrel for a 1st down.
Oh, this is next possession.
Next possession. Yep. We're moving. We're going fast. We're playing fast. We're putting a hat on a hat and runs. We're doing play actions and hitting guys on hitches. Another 4-yard run before the quarter change.
Yep.
So we're going positive. Yep. Quarter stops us. Okay. These are all things. It's like, this is how the offense is supposed to run. This is what we're supposed to have. Let's see.
Squirrel again.
Yeah. A play action screen to Squirrel from behind the line of scrimmage.
About 5 or 6 yards.
Yeah.
3rd one.
And then a fast snap, give it to Dylan, 10-yard run.
Hard run. No. Was that 10 yards? The 3rd one was 10 yards? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Hard run. Yeah.
Hard run. I mean, he just sprinted as fast as he could.
Tempo.
Just tempo. So then you get a passing play. Okay. Spraggs gets beat on the 2nd move. Okay. When I remember originally watching it, I was thinking, damn, that's a coverage sack. Mm-hmm. Like, there's nowhere for him to go with the ball, and he tries to go somewhere. Rewatching it, I said 2nd move on purpose. It was literally the defensive lineman's 2nd move on Spraggs. He had already tried one. Spraggs took it away.
He got beat inside.
Then he goes back inside on his 2nd move. Nico, on this play, it really looks like he looks one direction to one guy and goes, that's it. I got to go. I got to run. I got to get out of here. That's probably how it's coached. It is probably coached, hey, if this guy's not open, use your legs and go.
Yeah.
Ends up being a sack.
Yeah.
Now we are behind the sticks again.
Yeah. And then from there, it's 2nd and 15. You run for a few. Javonte again. And then it's 3rd and 11. little draw to try to catch them off guard, and then
they run. They have a great defensive play call. Okay, we are running a draw to try and catch them off guards. How do you eliminate draws? Games up front. They run games with all 4 of their guys up front. They run 2 twists. They drop linebackers. Yeah. Linebackers do not come up at all. As soon as the ball is snapped, they back up. Okay, meaning when our linemen are trying to get up to linebackers and get a hat on a hat, they're in space.
Yeah,
linebackers can make a miss. That's not good for offensive linemen. I want that linebacker right up on me. Now I can get my hands on him. Now I can control him.
Yeah,
where I want him to go.
Yeah.
So it's just,
and I don't. But and to be honest, I don't mind the draw on 3rd and 11.
I don't either. And it's a play we've never seen, which means Arkansas has never seen it.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that play. I haven't seen the Nico looks like he's going to roll out the other direction, hand back left.
Yeah,
we haven't. Arkansas hasn't either. They ran a good defense to stop a draw play.
You're fortunate sometimes.
Yeah, listen. You're not typically running a play to stop draws on 3rd and long.
No,
you're running on 2nd and long. That's when people call draws.
They did the twist. They did the twist to try to get pressure with only 3 or 4.
Yeah,
and it just happened to work out for them.
Yeah, it worked out. But again, getting behind the sticks. So it's like the sack given up on good coverage on the outside, and Sprague's getting beat on the second move changes the whole drive. We were moving the ball. We were getting positive yards.
I mean, I have it. Do you have one more play here?
No, that was the last one to draw.
Yeah. So I had, just to add on that, I thought maybe he does this because he's going to go for it on 4th, but then, on that same play, Lance didn't hold his block as long as he could have. But I rewatch it, and Lance did the thing where he steps up and tries to get that one-arm shove.
Mm-hmm.
And because
doesn't do anything.
Yeah. And so it's like, it looks cool when Trey Smith does a one-arm shove and you see it on SportsCenter and he's like pancaking somebody. But on this one, it just didn't really do anything because then the guy comes back and makes tackle. But anyways, I have 2 drives in and they were crushed by penalties or sacks. Play calling looks same to me. So that's 2 drives in.
Exactly. On this next drive, I've got, I think we run on 1st down. Then Nico pulls to throw, trying to get the bubble out to Squirrel, and he hits it in the dirt.
Yeah.
So Squirrel, I think that was the first play.
It was.
So Squirrel drops it or catches it at the line of scrimmage.
Yep.
We're behind the sticks again. We're 2nd and long.
Yeah.
We try and run the ball. We get a couple yards. Yep. And now we're in 3rd and long.
Yep.
Again. They decide, hey, I'm bringing pressure. They put 7 guys up on the line of scrimmage.
They showed it. There is a multitude of ways that this could go and multitude of ways that they could be blitzing. So it is very difficult. But the one thing that you need to do as an offensive lineman get your depth.
I didn't even have to say it to you. You knew what I was talking about. You're not an offensive lineman. You know that. What the hell does Spragues do?
He chased,
man. He attacks the linebacker that's over top of him.
Yeah.
Get your depth. You don't know what blitz they're sending. You don't know what games they're coming with. You should know they're trying to come with games. You just saw it on the previous drive on 3rd and long. They ran games. What are you expecting on this 3rd and long? Games.
Yeah. It's
get your depth. I have no idea why he would go forward. Spragues is a fantastic player.
Well, there was a guy there, and he kind of chased it, but it was one of those when they're going to step up and show you they're all coming and they're mugging the gas.
The first thing I would be thinking as a right guard in Sprague's position is this linebacker is trying to pick me for someone else. That would so I wouldn't go towards him at all. I would step back, put one hand up in the middle and be like, if you come, I'm going to feel you first.
Yep.
And then try and collect whatever so he can be there to help John Campbell out on the edge. Now, John, I know this is a ticky-tack, but don't go out to the outside, man. Until you feel somebody bump you off, stay with the most dangerous, which is the inside threat.
It's like 2 wrongs don't make a right. I mean,
exactly.
He chased, then when he gets his,
it's more on Spragues and not getting the depth, not realizing, hey, maybe this guy doesn't come, but I also want to have a coaching point for John.
Right. No, I agree.
No,
I agree. I think, It's just they are who they are. We know that they can play at a level of this, and this is where we expect it because we've seen you do it. But there's still so much inconsistency with a Javonte Spraggins because of his aggressiveness.
Yep.
And with a John Campbell, so far. I don't know. I don't know if I want to say so far. It's been a little disappointing this year. I'm not going to say that because this was a bad game, and they've been able to run against everybody else. Maybe there has been a little bit of pressure. Obviously, it didn't affect us enough to lose a game.
They were still able to run against this team. This offensive line has no issue with running the ball.
I agree.
It is in pass pro.
I completely agree. And so, but my thing is going into that point of Javonte and Campbell being that aggressive nature, and it's good for the run game, but it crushes us in pass pro that they use that over aggression. And it's like the only thing the reason that I feel, okay, so I said we know who they are, but the reason that I still allow myself to get frustrated is because they're like 40 years old.
Yeah,
they've both been there forever.
You know this.
So it's like I know who they are, and I've watched Javonte Spraggins play for the past 2 years, but I still expected coming into this year that there would be a little bit more maturity in things like this. There's no reason to chase. If I know that, and I've never played offensive line in my life, but it just makes sense, and I've listened to you and watched ball, but it's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like literally, like I hope Glenn Ellerby's like, bro, like explain to me, like what was the reasoning behind this?
Yeah.
So
what was your thought process? So we end up punting again.
Same play calls as usual.
Yeah, same stuff. Like we're ready to move forward, but Nico misses a throw on the edge, and then we have bad pass pro, and that's what happens. Let's see. Next drive, coverage again. No one's open.
Yeah.
Nico runs it.
Nico had plenty. I think he had plenty of time.
Yeah, he had plenty.
Let me make a point here as I hit your big old thigh there. let me stop you. So this is the only thing, because I was going to bring this up at some point, but I'll just talk about it now because Nico had plenty of time there, and he's still young. Like he's still very, very young. And he's going to develop this year. He'll develop into next year, and he would have to play really, really well to be gone. So we might get Nico for 3 years. I don't know, based on what I've seen so far.
Yeah.
But I thought there would be more gamer to his game naturally, and maybe it's still because he's young. Maybe he's not fully comfortable yet. But there was so much stuff that like Hendon Hooker did well, or if any one of you all watched the Vandy Alabama game, like Diego, like the dude's just a gamer.
Yeah. Like
Josh Dobbs was a gamer for most of his big games and most of his career. Hendon Hooker was a gamer. And I mean that you drop back and you're not sitting there thinking, oh, I want to show people I'm a pocket passer. I need to stay in and let this develop. Or, oh, I'm going to drop back. I read one guy and then run. I'm not saying he's thinking about that, but it's very obvious when you watch football, you got guys that are one read ponies and they want to get out and run, and you got other ones that hold the ball way too long. Like, for example, in Joe Milton, we felt like he would hold too long, but there were guys open and he wasn't taking the throw when it needed to be thrown. So, and the other thing is too, I saw a lot of stuff on Twitter that it was like, hey, why is this offense looks the exact same, but I thought Joe Milton was a problem. Here's a massive, and I didn't even respond to the people that brought up Joe Milton. Here's the massive difference. Nico has been playing college football for 5 games. I'm saying starting. I know he's been in the program. Yeah. But this was literally his 5th, I guess, start or 6th start. Yep. Joe Milton had been around a cajillion years. Yeah. So we knew who Joe Milton was.
Joe Milton was like a 6-year senior.
Yeah. So we knew we know who Joe was, but like I still like Nico. Let the man get a full season under his belt is my thing, and then let's readjust. Like I'm just using this example. I'm not trying to compare the two. Joe Burrow was pretty middle of the road his first year at LSU. Yeah. And then he came out and was the best college quarterback that year and set all the records. So it's like sometimes it takes adjustment. And my point to all that is I just hope, because I firmly believed and thought and still believe that there is that gamer in Nico. And that's where I want him to get out of the pocket, get yards with his legs like he does, or get out of the pocket and let someone make a play for you. The one that Arkansas dropped Green got out. His guys rerouted.
Across, yep.
The biggest play of the game where he chucked it up to Dante. He rolled out of the pocket and gave one of his guys a chance. This offense, a lot of these defenses now are going to sell out to stop the run. They want to make us try to earn it because obviously we're showing that we'll either kill ourselves and shoot ourselves in the foot, or it's much harder for us to score when we get down there. They don't want us to have tempo, so they're going to close the run game, and they're going to take away not necessarily the quick bubble throws, but they're going to take away some of those quick hitches or the quick in routes. They didn't all the time, but I just wanted to say Nico be a gamer. Just make plays, and that's one thing Hendon Hooker did well. He'd get out, he'd run. He'd get out, he'd make a throw. He would stay in the pocket, get drilled, and make a throw. Like, he was a gamer.
Yeah. I think there are times, and this might just be the age thing, but Nico almost feels like he's too analytical about football, and like the way he thinks about it and the way he approaches it is very professional.
Yeah.
In a way. And it's almost like,
I agree.
I wish there was a little bit of like,
just let it go, baby.
like Johnny Manziel in you, where you're just like having fun out there and just playing backyard ball a little bit. Yeah. But I don't think that's necessarily Nico. Like, I think Nico is literally, since he's been young, was like, hey, you're going to be a number one quarterback. Like, you got to be prepared for that. And he approaches everything that way, very, very, to the point. This is what I have to do. This is what I need to do. And sometimes it is like, let it go, let it be a gamer. But I've seen those flashes already. 5 games in, even on the last drive, which we will get to, there are plays made by Nico that you go, holy shit. Like, that's what I want.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And the other thing about it is that I don't know him personally, but all the stuff that, like, being around, all the people say, all the things that people tell you, and then just looking at him and watching him and listening to him talk, the reason I trust Nico is because the kid seems like he's got an absolute great head on his shoulders.
Yep.
He seems like he's going to be like, hey, I'm here. I just want to win. I want to be a good teammate. I'm going to do everything I can. When he got player of the game and whatever, he said there were still mistakes that I could do better. So it's like, I trust a young kid, a young man like that compared to the ones that I think are the ones that we see all the time. They're the big time 5 stars. They think everything else is someone else's fault, not their fault. So that makes me feel like, hey, he can turn this thing around. And like we said, it's 5 or 6 games in, like a lot of ball left.
Yeah, exactly. And he's not the one to kind of take everything into his own hands and not really like play to the scheme of everything. Sure. You know what I mean? He's like, listen, this is the game plan. This is what we're supposed to be doing. This is why these plays are drawn. He believes in Heupel and his system. So he's bought into it.
This is 1st and 10. Oh yeah, this is one.
So Brazel on the comeback gets a first down versus backed up coverage. He fumbles a snap, which he had a few of those this game. Big one on the last drive where it hit him directly in the hands and he fumbles it and Dylan just grabs it and starts running.
That can't happen.
That can't. Not when it's literally hitting you. It's a perfect snap from Coop. Yeah. Like, that can't happen. He hits Kitzelman 2 plays in a row, one for 17 yards, one for 7 yards. They're just simple outs. He's over there in the flat.
Looks like things are trying to cook a little bit.
We're getting there. We're getting there. They have good man-to-man coverage. Nico rolls and tries to throw, and it's an incomplete pass on the sideline. But it's like, all right, they have good coverage there. It stalls our offense when we have incomplete passes. It slows things down. And then a holding, a face mask on John Campbell. That puts you back even more, right? So we slowed down with the incompletion, and now we have a twist that is run up front. Hey, guess what, guys? There's going to be fucking twists, okay? Every time you get in a pass situation, I want you to just look over at your guard and go, twists, game, Texas, something. Say something that is going to say, hey, remember, there might be twists. Because John Campbell does not collect the twist. He ends up not being in good position on the man, and he has to hold his face mask for dear life. Another penalty. as Nico tries to throw the ball and backs us up even more. And the best thing that we can do on 3rd and long is get the ball to Dylan. After
he gave his best effort.
He gave his best effort. And that's a guy that I'm like, hey, if we're in a 3rd and 18 and I want someone to have a ball in their hand, they might do something. It's Dylan. He's the one who always does it.
I agree.
So,
it's funny talking, just piggybacking on a few other things on this one. We try to go fast, like you said, and then we fumble. And so it's like there's like the fumble, meaning the botch snap. So we're shooting ourselves in the foot. 2nd and 8, if we're going to beat up on them, there was a good pocket. It was a good throw to Miles. So that was great. Then we go, like you said, we go back to Miles, which is great. I'm going to say this. Oh, yeah. So that was another one. It's like 2nd and 3. It's a second and 3. We're throwing it. That doesn't seem conservative to me. Pocket was pretty good. Nico gets out of the pocket. Can't see. I'm telling myself I couldn't see if anyone were open downfield. He gets up. He makes a couple of jukes, makes a couple of good plays. You've already talked about Campbell getting beat inside. I do have a note here that I want to bring up that we talked about. So on the 3rd and 18, I saw that Arkansas, this was probably one of the first things I've seen doing this, is they were kind of running like the 3 high safeties.
Yeah.
And so they're trying to take away, obviously, and I saw their corners, besides the 3 deep safeties, their corners were inside shade. So what I saw was on a couple of these, let me try to be quick about this. I should have wrote this way here, but I just remembered.
I mean, this is the drive before half, so we're already halfway through the game.
Yeah, well, we didn't have many offense possessions.
No, we did not. Not in the first half, especially.
Hold on.
I'm glad you started putting a square on the center.
Yeah. You have to.
You did a few times with the circle. I was like, oh, we need to signify that.
So inside there, and then outside there. So X. Well. So basically, what they were doing, and I thought it was really smart by Arkansas. So you got your 3 high safeties. We'll say center's in here, Nico's in here. They're having the inside shade here. And so what they're so used to is seeing
there's 2 receivers out here.
2 receivers out here. Oh, yeah, I can see. Yeah. So what they're so used to us doing is coming here, bringing that dig in, coming up here, doing that. And then this guy is supposed to read. So if he doesn't come here, obviously, if he comes here, you got someone here. You got this one sitting here, which I like that. That's easier for him to sit there than having to get a backer coming back.
Mm-hmm.
But then the other thing is here, I was noticing these guys were playing inside shade, which means they're kind of inside here, which makes it really difficult to get across face. But what they do is because then they open up, they run with them, and then they pass off. So he ends up running with him. And instead of doing the dig, if he sits here, he takes it away. So I was like, man, I really like that what Arkansas's defense was doing. And it made sense why they were doing the inside shade.
And then for everyone to think, okay, how do we take advantage of this now that this defense is running it this way? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Where are the other 6 guys at? You're going to have 5 guys inside and 1 over here. So now I got a light box. Now I got to take advantage of this light box. If they're going to put 3 safeties back, you have to be able to run the ball.
I agree. And this player right here, who's number 30, he was very feisty. He was getting really fired up and stuff. I thought he played that well. And I was like, man, that would be a position like I would love to play, because basically what they did was instead of having like a star position, which is like your nickel, they're like, we're just going to have
almost like a Tampa 2, but with a roamer in the middle.
Instead of having it, like I said, it was kind of like taking a linebacker out and just putting a more athletic guy, because he can come downhill. And 30 came downhill, popped. Like he was back there, but once he saw it was run, he was shooting and triggering hard. So, but yeah, I mean, it's 3rd and 18. There's not much that Heupel can call for 3rd and 18 when there's 3 freaking high safeties. Like what, you know what I mean? And he's not trying to be like, all right, we're playing NCAA, Hail Mary, we'll just chuck it up. But like, well, that's a good way to get your quarterback killed and a strip sack.
Let me try and get in field goal range, which is what he was attempting to do. Yeah. And then because it was before the half, there wasn't, a chance for us to really get field goal. It was too deep, so we try and go for it. Nico has time, but they drop 8. He tries to complete a pass to Brazel on the sideline. He kind of overthrows him. Nico, it could have been the defense kind of pushing him that way, but there was a lot of throws on the sidelines where I don't know if he was giving his guys real chances to come with those balls.
I agree.
To come down with
I don't know if it was an accuracy thing or if he's just getting rid of it because he is a really accurate thrower. So I'm like, are we not keeping that low and inside a little bit more because these guys are doing the way out here? It's like,
and none of them seemed to even be able to drag a foot.
Yeah.
So,
third quarter, go ahead.
Third quarter. So we've seen the first half. We've seen some of the things that you have a missed blocking assignment. It's a sack. You get put behind the thing. You got a face mask penalty. You've got false starts and illegal man downfield, and you're not able to run your offense like you want to. So at this point, no one should be thinking, oh, Heupel's not calling the game correctly. No one should be thinking, oh, we're not doing this like we should. He is calling how he always does. So we get the ball. This is a fantastic play by Nico. It is the first play of the first half. You can see the linebacker call out the run. He literally calls out, that guy's pulling. He is the front side linebacker. I think it might be number 14. He points over to John Campbell on the backside, and he says he's pulling to him and Kitzelman, who are in there. They both pull because it's a counter play. Nico pulls the ball away from Dylan, throws it to the outside.
To Brew.
Okay, that is his decision. The front 5 guys and Dylan Sampson and Kitzelman are running counter. They have no idea it was a pass. They are running the football. They were called to run the football, and that's what the defense thinks too. And I thought it was just a great awareness out of Nico to be like, hey, I got a heavy box and this guy's calling it out and throwing it outside.
I love that you called that out. Also, good shout out to that linebacker. Somebody's doing some film study. I really hope John Campbell wasn't giving it away though. But based on his alignment, his step, was he got a foot? You know what I mean?
I think it was it was film study by him. Okay. I think John might have been aligned improperly.
That's what I'm saying.
Maybe some depth.
That's exactly what I was saying.
Yeah, he could have called it out. So it gets us a first down right away. So here we go. We're moving fast, okay? Dylan runs hard for another first down, cuts back, runs off through some arm tackles, gets another first down. We have 2 in a row, okay? So we're moving the ball. Bubble out to Squirrel, gets a 6-yard gain. And this is a good throw, right? We just saw a bad throw in the dirt out of Nico. This is the exact same play. He hits a very good throw, gets him moving upfield as he catches it. Play action, nobody's open. Nico has a ton of time, so he ends up just throwing it away. That's what I thought it was. It was another sideline throw. Let's see. This is Kitzelman is the lead blocker up inside. We used to call this Bob, this play, where we would not take care of the backside linebackers and offensive line.
Is this the long run?
This is a long run where we would just lock on the backside. So guard hits 3 technique, tackle gets defensive end, and you bring your tight end to the backside linebacker. So it looks like zone everywhere else. But then you have a lead blocker with your tight end. It is a fullback kind of play, but you're not running it out of an I formation. So he leads up to linebacker. Now it is safeties are the only ones who can make a tackle, which I mentioned earlier. The safeties are very important versus this. They're the only ones who can make a tackle, and they misjudge it. They come inside, way too far inside. Dylan sees that, bounces it out, and has that long run. And that's why I love Dylan. If that Boise State running back wasn't alive and incredible and playing, I would be pitching Dylan as the best running back in the country. Yeah. Based off of what he does, the fact that he has 12 touchdowns on the year, rushing touchdowns, and in the passing game, what he can do. He's just so versatile.
I agree. I love Dylan. There's still a couple. I like him and Deshaun, and I thought they both run extremely hard, but they both have to be a little bit better on pass pro. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I will say this: shout out to Nico Slaughter on the hawk down.
Yes,
it's impressive.
It is impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, Dylan.
But hey, you know what? It was great to get down there and punch it in.
And then we punch it in the next play.
And
great double team by Coop and Sprague.
And it's another thing about people talking about coaching and this, that, and the other. But it's like we're out of halftime. We do what we need to do. We go down. We pound the rock. We throw it a little bit. We score.
Yep.
So it's like that is Josh Heupel football.
We do what they are giving us. We take advantage of what they are giving us. They started to back up those safeties in the second half. They started to have lighter boxes, and we were running the football.
Yeah.
Okay, so next drive, defense does a good job.
Play action on first.
Forcing it out. Good. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, good play action on the first one. Next one, 7-man pass pro. It's good pass pro. Nico's got time. Nobody's open. He starts to scramble. This is the one where, Kirkstreet calls it out where Brew gets held. And then Nico just tries to gain as many yards as he can.
I got to say something.
Before that?
No, on this play. It's play action. I love the play action. They did a delayed blitz. The guy comes around the corner. Miles is there. And unfortunately, he's working back. And the guy's blitzing and comes and absolutely decleats Miles because he's going this way and the guy's coming this way. So that's what forces Nico out. But I'm telling you, I don't want the narrative that we didn't have someone open. Chaz Nimrod was coming open.
He was going to be open.
Correct. Meaning it wasn't like you could see the route, and if the pressure wasn't there, Nico's sides can take one step and let it go. It's a completion. And there was a couple of those as we get in this second half where Squirrel was
some time.
If there's time, or if Nico can buy a little time, because listen, you're never going to have a perfect pocket. So it's like Nico, on some of these, you're good enough. Like, can you sidestep? If you can anticipate and see where it's coming, instead of going out and running, take a couple steps and let that thing rip, because there was a couple where Chaz was coming open in the middle, and a couple with Squirrel.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah. This is a design rollout, and Nico tries to get the ball to Brazel and misses him on the sideline where Dylan is open the flash.
So you think Dylan's open?
I don't think he's open. I think he can catch the ball.
Agreed. But do you think he's going to get murdered?
He might get tackled, but it's Dylan.
So see,
here's my thing. Here's the only thing that I'll say.
Okay.
If I'm Nico and I'm rolling out and I see what I see, I think in my head this is going to be a really hard throw to Brazel because he's deep and there's two guys there. This is going to be an easy throw, and I think I get 3 yards. But I get 3 yards. This one I don't know. And Dylan almost seems a safer bet, and it's not third down. You don't have to have the first.
I hear all that.
That kind of stuff. Or I take it myself.
So my thing here, because I really thought about this one for a while, and a lot of, for example, I just mentioned a few minutes ago the Joe Milton of, and a lot of quarterbacks do it where they'll see something open, but they don't want to take it because they know that they think they have something else coming open deeper behind it.
Yeah.
And so they don't just take what the defense gives them, And so I see it. I'm like, why is he not throwing that? And I'm like, are you waiting for something better? And then I'm like, that linebacker's in a great spot, and maybe he's not one to throw it. And to your point, if you want anyone to catch the ball and try to break a tackle, it's Dylan Sampson.
Yeah.
But there's a part of me that Nico does not want to let this thing rip, because depending on the throw, that linebacker can absolutely decapitate Dylan.
Yeah.
So I think if we're sitting in a film room and we're watching this, I think Nico says, I don't want to throw this because I think it's going to get him killed. Now, Dylan might be sitting there and be like, hey, put it a little bit behind me, stop my momentum, like get it to me here, and I'll try to turn upfield. I would assume Dylan as a competitor is like, bro, I don't care, just get it to me. Yeah. But I really thought about that one long and hard. I was like, I just think that he didn't want to get his guy killed. So then to your point, get upfield.
Run.
Exactly.
You have the ability. Like the guy who's on Kitzelman is in no man's land. He doesn't know whether to stay on Kitzelman or stay on you.
Yeah.
You could almost take advantage of that.
Yeah.
So then a 6-man blitz. They pick it up. Offensive line has great pass pro. They pick up the 6-man. They have 6 blockers. They send 6 guys, man on man.
Is that the slant catch?
And that's Nimrod's slant for a first down. So we pick up when we need to.
Go tempo, get late hit.
Wide receiver bubble, yep. Late hit, out of bounds, so gets us an extra 15. Play action pass. He misses Brew in the end zone, trying to throw that deep ball.
Hands to the face.
Hands to the face. They call rough in the passer.
But let's not forget though. This is another deep shot.
This is another deep shot.
So
exactly. There's nothing that's changing in this. We are not conservative. This is the second half, guys. This is the second half. Okay, we're still trying to score points here. Okay, we're still throwing the ball deep. We're keeping them honest.
Yep.
So he misses him on this one, which I know he got roughed in the face, but I expect him to have a close. I don't know because you can't see on the TV copy Brew and the DB
separation,
and their separation, what's going on, and is there something slowing Brew down and all that kind of stuff. But in my eyes, I'm thinking Brew's got a little bit of separation here. Once the camera pans over,
yeah, it's a bummer.
I'm there.
We have very high expectations for Nico.
You know what? The expectations started really high before he even played a snap, and he's done very good things in games to raise the expectations. But maybe it is a little bit of like, hey, give him a break.
I mean, my thing, what I used to say with Hendon Hooker, I said, give me 50%. I talk about making 50% plays as a DB. Give me 50% with Hendon. So if you miss this one with people in your face, you got to hit squirrel, which we'll talk about in a minute.
Yeah.
Like I need one of those. Like you're talented enough to hit one of those, even with people screaming down your face. But we scored.
Yeah, great
double pull.
Next play, great pulls.
Yeah,
great pulls. Cooper and Sprague's double pull. Honestly, when you look at the defense and look at how the O-line set up, you're like, how in the hell are they going to get away with pulling two guys in the middle of the defense and leaving a massive hole there? But they do. Backside, the guard crashes down on the nose. The tackle is Campbell's able to come down on the 3 technique and block those guys, hold them steady. We get outside, Dylan makes them right. I always love the way that Dylan runs. And then another tight end lead up to the linebacker, and it's safety, and Dylan hits him right in the face.
Yep.
Right in the face. And I love it.
I do too. So 14-3 at this point. You're up 14-3. 8:19 8 minutes and 19 seconds in the third. Like I'm like, okay,
we have control of this game.
We done what we needed to do on this point.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, now we have Bishop in the game for the first time. 5-man box, a light box. He runs right between the tackles and runs through tackles.
Nice blocking too.
Nice blocking. Gets about 12 yards on the first run, and we're fired up. We're moving. This is where you're seeing it. Now they're starting to scoot back a little bit, those safeties. And now those boxes are getting lighter. And now this 3-3-5 doesn't look like it's working too well. Next play, they drop 8. Okay. Rush 3, drop 8 all the time in the world. Now what does Nico do? All right, let me just move around, scramble a little bit, shake a few people, get a first down.
Yep.
Unbelievable play by him. We're using his feet the way he can. This I actually really like, this outside zone to the right.
I haven't. I said I wrote it down. Really like that run too.
Really like that run.
I really
versus the 5-man box when those guys are tight inside. Your tackle has almost a head start getting up to linebacker.
Yeah.
Kitzelman came around and he helped on the block with Campbell and got the pancake there. I think he possibly could have gone up to safety, but you're also, as an offense, going, hey,
inside,
that's your man.
Yeah.
Bishop, that's your guy.
I agree.
You make that guy miss.
Yeah.
And you're home free because wide receiver is blocking a corner outside. Yep. That's the only safety on that side of the field. You're home free if you make him miss.
John Campbell and Miles did a really good job there. And I thought you were going to say maybe John can pick him up, but I'm saying John's not looking outside because he's looking inside.
Exactly.
So 1,000%, if you're going to make one miss, you got to make your guy miss. But I did like that design.
Yeah.
Then it's brutal, man. It's
play
brutal.
Action pass.
And he whiffs. Deshaun whiffs. I can't.
Deshaun goes for a cut.
What are we doing?
Yeah. And it's a late linebacker delayed blitz. It's just if you pick him up, there's a guy right across.
It's squirrel wide
just
open.
Wide open.
And it's like, Deshaun, my biggest thing is like, why are we cutting there? Like,
what's the teaching point?
Well, yeah, why are we cutting? Like, are they saying cut so that it opens up a throwing window? Like, that shouldn't be the case. Our guy's 6'5", and
that's a 3-man drop kind of thing.
Yeah,
not a
3-step drop.
Yeah, 3-step drop.
But I just hate the cut because, like, there's very rarely, like you see nowadays, that a cut actually works because these guys are so good and so athletic about defending against a cut. Like, they literally teach you how to, and so it's like, if you just put your nose in there, I know he's not necessarily a huge guy, but he's put together well. Like, if you give me a Jabari Small face mask to face mask, listen, I know it's not fun, but you signed up for it. If you want to tote the rock, you got to block for your quarterback. And, like, those are game-changing, altering plays.
It is, and if anybody else has played football or been out and I don't know, attempted to cut someone, it's not easy.
It's not easy.
It's not easy to cut someone. That is not the easy way out. It is very difficult to catch the legs properly, to cut them. I remember when we introduced it at Tennessee, because we never really did it at Catholic. I didn't have to do that at Catholic. I just jumped the man, put my hands on him. He couldn't jump. When we introduced it at Tennessee and I was a young guy, and it was like, hey, tackles, you take a set, then cut him. I was like, you want me to what?
Yeah.
On this guy who's 260 pounds and runs a 4.5? I can't. No way. There's no way I'm going to be athletic enough to cut him and him not see it coming, first off, and be able to react to that and just jump.
It's very – I'm telling you, man. It's you know what I hate seeing in college or NFL football when they do those cuts? They're like, hey, just cut him. Just get him down. Just get him down on the ground or just cut him because we're just going to throw a slant. It's like, dude, you're going to try to cut J.J. Watt. He's going to hold that guy's head down in the dirt and then bat it up. Yeah. And I bring J.J. Watt up because it's like I've seen the Titans try to cut him. And then it's like any of these, like J.J. Watt, T.J. Watt, Micah Parsons, Matt Crosby, like any of these dudes, like a James Pierce, go try to cut James Pierce.
Yeah.
He's going to eat you for lunch. And it's like, I don't know why coaches always do it. It's one of those things that we've talked about before where these coaches are like, well, just do it. And you're like, well, coach, he's like, no, just do it. And it's like, all right, guy, like you're clearly suck at your job.
Yeah, exactly. You've seen one guy do it. You think everybody can.
Yeah.
No, that's not how it works. Then another sack, a twist from the outside comes all the way to the opposite B gap. Yeah. Carrick misses.
So I have a question.
What's coming?
That was Carrick or Deshaun Bishop?
So Deshaun is not responsible for the front four. The offensive line is. So if Deshaun were to pick him up, great. It's a bonus. That's on Spraggs, Coop, Carrick.
Okay.
Spraggs saying
because Deshaun was helping Lance Hurd.
Exactly.
So he was
Deshaun
doing something.
Went up. There's no blitzer. There's no linebacker. So I'm going to help the nearest to me, which is the tackle.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening.
Okay. That's why I had a question mark.
You need communication across the front to say, hey, Looper, go, 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 go. Like we practiced it. We would do blitz pickup in practice versus the other offensive linemen. We would literally sit there, 5 up. The other O-line would line up in the 4 down and their linebackers, and we would run their blitz packages as they like to run, their twist games they like to run. And it would all be about not going fast. We're going against our own teammates, but communication and where is this coming from? What to expect when this guy crosses your face to the left? Expect someone coming back, right? And just go, 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 go. Move, 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 move. Whatever it is to tell the guys next to you, like, go. There's a guy coming out there because Carrick can't see
who's coming. Yeah,
a defensive end on the other side. You know who can is Spraggs. So let your guy know.
That's why offensive lineman is just so tough because besides being so,
I mean, think about that. You got to be blocking your guy and telling the other guy, hey, you need to pick this guy
but
up.
But also being fundamentally sound on like where your hands and feet have to be. That's why it's why it's so tough. But
yeah. So end up punting here. Let's see. Next drive, we got a light box. We run counter. Okay.
5-yard run.
5-yard run. We do a play action wide receiver bubble to squirrel. Another first down. Play action. He has time in the pocket. There's no pressure on him, and he misses Brazel trying to get him the ball.
Yeah.
So now we're sitting there 2nd and long. And I think we try to run.
You missed a run on first down because now
run on first. We
because
didn't
now
get
we're
much yardage.
because now we're at third.
That was it. We got 2 yards on that run. Then we try and throw the ball to Brasley, misses him.
And then
So now we're 3rd and 8. He takes a shot to Squirrel, and this is the one where you were just talking about. If you're I need 50-50 out of you. And this is a time where there's nobody on Nico. He's got time. It's drawn up for him. It's 1-on-1. This is where Hendon Hooker hit a lot of dudes in 2022. A lot of dudes on this exact same play call. We are already up 14-3 at this moment.
No,
this gets us 21-3.
21-10, but still.
21 they scored.
21-10 still. And even when they kick the field goal and it's 21-13, then you still feel great because then they have to score and a 2-point conversion.
You don't play defense the same way you did.
So this one crushed me because right when I see Nico drop back and I said, he's got it. He's got someone because you can tell
on the defense.
You can tell when you're watching our offense when they drop back a certain way and start letting it rip, whether it was Hendon, Joe, or Nico. And I'm just like, he's got him. And I'm just sitting there thinking, please please hit this.
Mm-hmm.
And he lets it. And I mean, Squirrel's got Danico Slaughter beat and he doesn't complete it. And that's the difference between winning and losing football games. Like, man, you got to hit that. And not only as a 5-star super uber talented, but like a normal college quarterback needs to hit that. A starting quarterback needs to hit that. And it's like, listen, Nico comes back, and we're going to talk about it here in a few minutes, and Squirrel lets him down with a drop. Miles lets him down with a drop, and both those throws were good.
Huge plays.
And those were good throws.
Those were massive plays.
Good throws, but like he's got to hit this. And you know what I was drawing on here, and I was telling how those slots playing inside shade.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Danico was a little inside shade, and Squirrel gets out
and stacks them,
and that safety has no chance to get over top. So it's a 1-on-1. I watched the play, then I go back and watch it, and I'm sitting there pre-snap, and I'm looking. I'm like, now that I see this, Squirrel knows exactly what's about to happen, and Nico knows exactly where he's about to go with the ball when he sees it. And they just didn't complete it. And sometimes that happens. But that I really felt like you go up 21-10 there, and it's completely different because at that time, the backup quarterback is in the game.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. You play a different ball game. So next drive starts out with a false start by Coop, where you see the guys point over at the defense. And when you watch it, you can see number 14 like move, right? He's probably saying something to get the D-line to shift. You cannot do that anymore in college football. You were able to for a time period. It was allowed. I remember being in college and it was allowed. But you're not allowed anymore to yell out those things. They say it's
shift,
move.
Yeah.
And they say it's your attempt as a defender to, kind of get them to jump off sides.
Right.
Because you're not necessarily like, hey, move. You're move,
shift,
hut. Like you're saying it in that
because you'll see it plenty of times if you really want as a linebacker, if you really need your guy to move up front, you're gonna go up and tap him on the butt, like, hey, you're in the wrong gap. But because there's other times too where it comes up, I think, on this drive where they shift and they get us to jump without yelling. And It's the same thing that we did at Oklahoma where we shift and they twitch.
It happens later in the drive. So, we get
First and 15 now.
We're first and 15, but guess what? We're not changing what we're doing. Counter, up to the ball, next play action counter, Brazel, come back, first down. We negated the penalty. We now have a first down, okay? What do? Counter, play action, hitch to Squirrel, first down. We are moving the ball. We're moving the ball down the field. We're feeling good about this, even though we've missed our opportunities with the pass to Squirrel. We're feeling good about this. Lance, false start with the movement. Puts us back. We run counter again. Okay? Makes it 2nd and 8. It's manageable. That's manageable. After being a 1st and 15 from a false start from Lance, we're in a manageable position. Campbell absolutely misses the blitzing linebacker.
Yeah.
Does not see him coming. It's a little bit of like a slide down, and the linebacker is inside linebacker. It's not a guy outside. He just comes right off that guy's butt, and John never goes out to him.
Yeah.
He gets buried inside where the defensive lineman is. He is sliding in protection. If Reed is Sprags, I'm John. He's sliding in protection, and this linebacker comes right on his outside shoulder. He never sees him.
Yeah.
Never picks him up.
I think my biggest thing is this: so we still got the pass away. It's like we didn't win the one-on-one on the outside. Like Dante,
I was wondering what the route was by Dante as well on this play. It's like I blame the offensive line first because I played offensive line. And that's what I see first. But then I go back and look at it, and I'm like, Dante looked like he ran 11 yards and turned around.
Yeah, and like
not necessarily
like a comeback.
Not like I'm doing a comeback. I'm hitting a hitch.
Yeah.
I'm hitting a dig. Like I'm doing a post corner. I'm like. There was no technique in what it seemed like. It seemed like he ran 11 yards and went like this.
Yeah, and that corner was right on it. So
all over him.
So my thing was like we just didn't win a one-on-one there. And like you have to be physical and win the one-on-one there. You go to 3rd and 7 or 3rd and 8, whatever it is.
Here's the spot where people asking about
conservative
and play calling where I hear you. Okay. It's 3rd and 8, 11, whatever it ends up being, a 3rd and 8. We run the ball and then punt. We run the ball to 4th and 3 and then punt. They have their backup quarterback at this point. They have their backup kicker at this point. Our defense has been playing lights out. And in my head, every time we've seen Josh Heupel run on 3rd and long,
he's going for it on 4th.
He's going for it on 4th. If he gets to a spot, 4th and 3 is a go for it spot.
I truly think I thought about this. So when I'm watching the game live, he runs it. I'm like, okay, that's fine. He runs it because he's about to go through it on 4th. And then he gets up there, and I'm like, oh, yeah, they are going for it. And then he tries to draw him off sides. And it's like, okay, I get that. And I really believe that the reason he punted is because of how good our defense is and because they had a backup quarterback in.
Yes.
I really believe.
I think that's why.
I think if they had their normal quarterback and he's a little bit more worried about them, I think he might go for this. But he's sitting there thinking, we still have the lead. If I have to win this like I had won at Oklahoma, I'm going to do it. I have one of the best defensive lines in the country. I have a good defense overall.
Yep.
Let's not do something stupid. Give them momentum and give them the ball here. Let's punt it.
And when we were talking defense, and I said Dominic Bailey gets through that line of scrimmage, he misses the tackle, and they score a touchdown. That was when I started to notice fatigue in the defense. Mm-hmm. That defense has been out there way more than the offense all game.
Yeah.
And he has to think to himself, too, is my defense tired? Do they need more time? Or am I putting them in a bad spot by turning this ball over at the 50-yard line?
Agreed.
You know what I mean?
Agreed.
Or do I punt it, get him down close to the end zone, which turns out 3 and out on defense, and they punted it back to us. And that's where Squirrel doesn't catch the ball.
And I agree with you there because it ended up working out here that he punts it, and it was a good punt. It wasn't one of these, hey, where do we go? Do we punt? And then the asshole punts it out the back of the end zone, and they get it to 20 anyways. No, we down them down there, 3 and out. We won the game within the game of field position. And if Squirrel catches that, I firmly believe at the 40 compared to
that's a 10-yard loss from where we ended the previous drive. And how much time off the clock? 3 minutes.
And we're still winning.
So
it's like I firmly believe if Squirrel catches that and doesn't give up a damn 20-something yards, I think that we're going to go down and at least get a field goal there. Because we had been playing a little bit better at this point. So I'm fine with Heupel not going for it there. I really am. And I'm fine with the run. I know that fans hurt because when I was rewatching it, I remember hearing him say it. But Chris Fowler's like, well, that's pretty conservative. It's like, okay, but then thank goodness Kirk was like, hey, like if he's got to win this like he did at Oklahoma and he brought it up, but I'm fine with it. I totally understand where he's coming from there.
Yes. He's got elite defense. They have a backup quarterback.
Yeah.
So we get the ball back. Counter on the first play. Now your guys are hearing me say counter a lot. They are running counter a lot. And you think, well, is that too noticeable? Is that too expected? Right? Not really, because counter keeps working. Okay. These teams, even though they might know it's coming, they don't know which direction it's coming from. Because what Heupel loves to do is run counter to the right while while Dylan is lined up on the right side and the left side. He likes to run counter to the right and left while Kitzelman is lined up on the right side and the left side. So a lot of times they don't know which side is the down block, which side is the pull. So it still works. In this instance, we run counter. Linebacker shoots inside. John kind of hooks him as he's coming around. This is one of those ones I wish Dylan could have bounced to the outside, because Kitzelman bounces to the outside and he's leading up.
He kind of slow plays
to safety. And he kind of slow plays this one and gets tackled right around the line of scrimmage. He gets about 2 yards.
Yep.
And it's one of those ones where I was like, I'm not gonna get all over you, but it would have been nice if you bounce that outside. I think you might have gotten a first down there. We run the dig across the middle of the squirrel. It is low, okay?
But it's
catchable.
Honestly, listen.
It's there.
Listen, I can say from the dig routes, my favorite route, probably it or a whip route. But the amount of times I had to run and catch a dig like that, and I'm telling you right now, I want that throw 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah, if I get killed.
If I can go down and protect it with my body, and it's only my ball or no one else's, I will take that throw from a quarterback 10 out of 10 times.
Especially coming across the middle.
Every time. I mean, now if you want to give it to me here or here so I can catch it and get down, or catch it and keep going, that's fine. But low and away from the defender is almost perfect. And if Squirrel is going to be one of your best players on the team, and you want to be a winning football team, he has to make that play.
Has to.
And then you go to a captain on the next play in Miles, and I know that is a very difficult catch. You got a guy right on your back. You got another.
As you're trying to catch it.
You got the safety coming down to hit you, but it was a really, really good ball. It hits you, and I'm just saying, if you want to win big games, those are the plays you need to make.
Brew made that kind of play versus Alabama when we needed a field goal. He got hit when he caught the ball. There's
a lot of players that have made a lot of big time catches, and like I said, it's a hard catch, but hard plays have to be made.
They've got to be. That made a huge difference. We get a first down there. We continue just moving down the field. We can run out the clock possibly.
Yep.
So our last attempt.
Yeah.
Okay. Our last attempt. They are rushing 3, dropping 8. Okay, making it very difficult. Smart. Hey, I'm putting 8 guys back in coverage. You got 5 max receivers. It's going to be very hard for you to numbers. It's a numbers game. So, he doesn't have anything in the first play.
Thank goodness he dropped it.
Second play, yeah, he drops it. Second play, Nico still doesn't have anything. He goes, I'm going to take some of my feet. He takes a big hit on that play, which he's fighting for yards, and I get it, but also protect yourself a little bit.
I disagree on that one. At this point in the game, you got to go all out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I like it. I like what you're thinking. And then next play, they rush 3, drop 8. Nico sitting, does a little spin, rolls out, hits Dante Thornton 50 yards downfield. Now that is a playmaker right there. That is a playmaking play right there when your team needs it. We're going to get down into the red zone and be able to do what we need to.
I gained so much respect for Dante making that catch.
Yeah.
You got to go up and high point it. You got 2 dudes around you. You're a big guy. Go up. He made the play. And this whole drive, I still, as bad as we were, I didn't necessarily think we were going to win.
I didn't think we were that bad, though. Here's my thing. When people were saying managing the clock, correct?
Oh, I wasn't going to go there.
And how we were supposed to do everything.
Yeah.
First play, nobody's open, drop ball, clock stops. Second play, nobody's open. He doesn't want to throw it away and be 3rd and long and already be in a horrible spot, so he tries to get yards, okay? We rush up to the ball and try and snap it as fast as we can. We have 2 timeouts.
I'm fine with that whole part, yeah.
We have 2 timeouts, okay? When do I want to use those timeouts? At the end, okay? I want to use them at the very last
or
when to use them.
Or you need to use it when you get the big chunk. You're sitting here thinking like, if I get the big chunk across the middle and I need to kill it or whatever else.
Exactly.
But my point is, what I was going to say is, when I'm sitting there watching, as bad as we've been, I'm sitting there like, I don't feel great about us scoring here, but I'm still like, hey, like, Nico, this is your chance. Like, make something happen. Let's let this offense pop off. And all I was saying, Nico, get out of the pocket. Nico, get out of the pocket. Press this defense, because I have been in defense and you see that guy get out of the pocket and all hell breaks loose, because then you're thinking about it.
Routes are different.
Routes are different. You got to stick on people. Is he going to run? Is he not going to run? And just natural instinct, your eyes get locked in on him. And right when that happens, dude's hitting right behind you because you're not still locked in on your guy. And so the whole time I'm sitting there thinking, and even if it's not a deep shot to Dante, get out. And those linebackers that are in that middle way, press them, make them come up and then hit, a deep crosser for 20 yards behind.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a Hail Mary shot.
Yeah.
But that is the part of the playmaking ability that I'm talking about that I hope that we see from Nico. And I hope we see it this weekend. He's going to have to do it to beat Bama. He's going to have to do it to beat Georgia. Like, I want to see some of those playmaking abilities. Get out of the pocket and give your receivers time to work around and make plays for you. But I do think you use a timeout. And I think Heupel thinks that's a catch. We're getting down there. The clock stops while they reset the chains, if I'm not mistaken.
That's true.
And then but my thing is, like, instead of trying to run a play there, because we did lose like 25, 26 seconds, once that happens and the clock stops, go down there and spike it. Then you have second, third, and fourth down with 2 timeouts.
Yeah.
So that was my only coaching thing, is like, go down there and either call a timeout immediately so that everyone regroups, resettles. Pressure is on Arkansas because we're like in the red zone now with 1 timeout, like 20 or with however many seconds, so plenty of time. That's where I either think you kill the timeout or you got to spike it, and they didn't, and that hurts. The last thing I have to say about all this, and I'll let you go. If I kill Joe Milton for not letting the ball go,
you got to kill Nico for it.
You got, and Nico, it's unacceptable.
And it never, once he got outside the pocket, he determined he wasn't going to let go of that ball. Once he got, and it's,
you have to, if you're going to run,
throw it up.
If you're going to run and get out of the pocket, you have to run and get out of the pocket, and your ass better be running sideways or backwards. Because the longer you run forward, it's just that natural instinct to, like, what do I thought? No, your ass runs as far as you can to the right, back, or forward to stand there and just
keep scrambling, keep going. You're faster than all 3 of their defensive linemen that are rushing. Yes,
and so it's like, it's just unacceptable. That can never happen ever. So he has to learn from that and never allow that to happen again. And I was a little bit bummed that Miles didn't catch the other one. I thought Miles didn't catch it.
Very bummed.
I thought he heard footsteps.
I think he did too, which he shouldn't have.
No, because the thing is like, I know the ball was hot. Nico put a lot on it and it was high. But once again, if you want to win games like this in the pressure moments, you have to go up and catch that. And my feeling is there was only one. It was the safety coming in.
One guy.
If you catch that, maybe he just whiffs and miss you. Maybe you sidestep him. Maybe he hits you and you bounce off. You could be the game-winning hero going in there. And I let myself get really hot at that moment. I yelled and I said, "Hey, you got to catch that. Like, you can't be scared."
No, exactly.
So
you have to catch that. You have to come down with that for your team.
Yeah.
Especially since the drive before we saw it and said you got to come down for your team. And that is the play after the Dante Thornton play. Immediately after, that's what he runs.
Yeah.
Is a out and up with the tight end to hit him. And that's the kind of play calling I love out of a freaking head coach. That's what I want to see. That's why I'm like, yeah, the timeout, you shouldn't have taken a timeout. Because guess what you were going to do? You were going to hit him again fast, something they hadn't seen all game with a freaking out and up. I hit this tight end for 17-yard gain and a 7-yard gain on 2 out routes. Now what am I doing? I'm going out and up.
It's the same
right after a big play. They have no idea it's coming. Nico's going to hit him because Nico knows this, and I'm going to get 20 yards at least, maybe even a freaking touchdown right off the bat, and I'm going to hold my timeouts.
And you're at like the 5, 6, 7, 8 yard line.
Now I call a timeout.
And you're at the 5 or 6 yard line right then. And that play is the play that we've seen. We've seen Jacob Warren make that catch against South Carolina. We saw Callie catch it against Bama. It's like, I know it's a little hot, man, but you got to catch that, because if you catch that and you don't score there, the game is holy moly. You got 2 or 3 shots from the 5 or 6 yard line, and I think they score there at that point.
And then I think it's 3 bad plays by Nico in a row where he's got time, he's in the pocket, he throws a dig behind Nimrod.
Why doesn't he? If you don't see something you like, he could have gotten upfield there again, because we still had timeout. So it's like some yards is better than none. So if you get up and press them, because we're close enough.
Here's the part that messes it up. The play before takes away your timeout with a drop snap.
Oh, right.
Nico drops the snap.
Yeah.
Dylan grabs it and runs.
No, we still had one at that time. So
we still had one.
And that's what I'm saying.
Need to make sure and hold on to that just in case.
I disagree, because this is the just in case. He catches it or he bobbles it. Dylan gets it. So that's a wasted play.
Now we're
but I'm saying
6.
Yeah, but I'm saying I'm dropping back and I'm Nico, and it's like the only thing I see is a very covered dig. No, get your ass up and get another 10 yards, because then you kill the timeout. And then it's like, okay, we got at least 2 shots at it from 5 or 6 yards. Every yard counts in that matter. Like, when you
looked around, Dylan Sampson ended up being open kind of over in the flats. Kitzelman ended up being kind of open over next to the sideline where he catch and get out of bounds.
Yeah.
And you save your timeout. And then so it's bobbled snap. It's behind the back to Chaz, and then last play of the game, and he runs out of bounds. And honestly, on that last play, Lance gets beat with a spin move, and I about broke my TV, because if there's ever a time to lock the fuck in, this is the last play of the damn game, dude. Like, I need you to be – this needs to be the best set of your life, okay? And you get beat easily on a spin move, pressure in Nico's face. Nico then has to start running around. If Nico stays in that pocket, I know it's very difficult. It's 4th and 6, and we need to score. We don't have time to get a first down and call a timeout, spike the ball. We have to score, and they have 3 safeties back. Chaz Nimrod would end up being open, because the safety that's back on this side, he sees Kitzelman come out, and he knows he's over there, and he has to come up to him. And Chaz is coming all the way across, and the middle safety was playing flat-footed in the back and not ready for the speed of Chaz. And if Nico has time in that pocket, I think he can hit him in the back of the end zone. So, yes, I hate the fact that he ran out of bounds, but also don't put your freshman quarterback in a bad situation as a 5th-year senior left tackle.
Yeah.
How about that?
Wait, Lance Hurt's fit? No.
He's old.
Lance Hurt?
Yeah.
No, he's like
he transferred from LSU. I thought he played like 3 years there.
No. He's a sophomore. Your point is still made, though, that if you're supposed to be that high caliber of a transfer coming in, biggest possession, your point's still made. Anyways, hit that thing to Florida. Let's get out of here.
Yeah.
There's only one thing to do here.
We got to win.
That's it.
And we got to punch him in the fucking mouth.
That's it.
We cannot let this poorly coached, poorly organized Florida team come into Neyland and win a game. This is a bad Florida team. We need this win more than we need air to breathe. And that's how you got to think about it before we play Bama in 2 weeks. We're excited. We're going to the game. So if any of you guys see us out there, say what's up. We're going to be walking around, tailgating, all that good stuff. So hopefully we see you out there. But thank you guys so much for watching and listening. Hopefully some of this gave a little insight into what was going on during the game and how the Vols went down in Fayetteville. But if you are watching, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave comments. We love the comments. If you're just listening, rate, review, download, re-download. Follow us on all those listening platforms. Also follow us on social media at Pancakes and Bacon for our main account on Twitter, at Pancakes and Bacon _RTI on Instagram. If you want to follow Reed, at rbacon26 for him on Twitter. You can follow myself. It's just at Kyler Curbison on all social medias. So check me out there. Really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. And as always, Go Vols.